It's on, y'all. It's Friday evening. Welcome back. I am back. It is Friday. It is the 27th of August of the year 2021. Let me make sure that everything's straight, y'all. I've been gone for 2 weeks now. I guess last week we didn't have a show. I had to take a quick sabbatical. Um, Folks, sometimes we get so lost and so wrapped up in so many things that we forget to take care of the things that we need to take care of, and primarily it's taking care of ourselves. So I had to do what I had to do. Took a day off. Took a few days off actually, and then tried to assess some of the things important. So as I'm getting my stuff together, forgive me, y'all. This is a one-man show, so as I want to make sure that y'all see me clearly, and everything works out well. So Facebook is up. I'm waiting for YouTube to pop up also. And then we'll be beginning so you guys can get what I have to offer. And we can all shoot the shit about life itself. Hopefully, everyone is well. Um, Fridays are a day sometimes for some of us to unwind, a day that we appreciate because it reflects to some payday. And if you are getting a payday today, enjoy it. There's still so many Americans that aren't receiving a payday. And regardless of what the national asshole front likes to suggest, that when you're getting these benefits of like unemployment and stuff like that, it's a payday. But this is money that you earned. So, they can kick rocks. One of the things that I've learned in my day is that it's always best to mind your pockets, not someone else's. However, um, unless someone's stealing from your pockets and everyone else's pockets, then it's good for us to speak up. Because whatever you're taking off the table that can feed all of us isn't intended for you alone. Oh my God, this is a pain in the butt, y'all. When you're trying to do the audio video stuff. Meanwhile, forgive me, y'all. I wanted to make sure everything is good. Hopefully, everything is laid out and almost on. I don't know why. That's why everything seems to shift to the left and the right in this world, as far as this home studio. I really don't know why. But we're here, y'all. Um, it is 7:09 p.m. Friday evening. This is the new norm. I'm your boy Mo Delgado. I'm the host of the show, and still the sexiest man in this chair, in this screen right now. And nobody can debate that. Straight out. But anyway, um, hoping everyone is well. There's a lot of information that we can talk about today because it's extremely important that we cover the bases that are necessary. First things first, Afghanistan, one of the most important national things that we need to really consider. Afghanistan, we've just seen all kinds of video to suggest the panic that's going on in Afghanistan. American troops are being pulled out, American allies, and American, the working or subcontracted individuals working in Afghanistan, pulled out by our military forces. And we're watching Afghani desperately trying to seek exit and exile out of that country, jumping on planes, being pulled up in the air, and unfortunately coming to their demise, falling from that plane. It is probably the most horrendous scene that we've seen in this age, second only to what had happened in 9/11. However, there's lots of atrocities taking place throughout the nation, so let's keep focused about what's right and what we need to do as better human beings. Pay attention to Afghanistan. As more and more people are coming into the United States, finding refuge, we will have more neighbors that are from Afghanistan. Let's open up our doors. Let's make sure they are received appropriately. Let's not treat them with any hatred. Let's not treat them with any kind of malice. It is not their fault that this whole situation, this chaos has come about. However, they want the same things that we do. And I think, in my opinion, as I was raised, there's enough for me to eat. There's enough for we to eat. So let's sit down at the table and let's all eat. So as our doors open up to all our Afghanistan, all Afghani refugees and people looking for exile. Let's open up our doors and give them the best that America has to offer. Give them their hearts and give them a little peace of comfort that they're safe here. Afghanistan is a very volatile nation. Afghanistan has been a war-stricken nation for at least 25 years now. It was basically one bully versus the other on the home front of Afghanistan. Russia against the United States back in the Cold War, with everyone else being involved. And at that time, it was more so Afghanistan feeding the rebels in that area to try to overthrow that nation. And that's been political play around the world for so long. The big boys, the United States included, UK, India, China, have sided with different factions and different tribes around the world, created allies with them by supporting guns. Costa Rica, South America, even nations, small island nations, countries, big countries go in, supply all kinds of guns, treats them, guns and weaponry, teaches them how to do this so they can destroy their neighbors. And then in doing so, the big guys, the bullies themselves, us as the big nations, look to make allies in that nation so we can have a strong presence in that part of the world. Some would like to call that a patriotic strategy to ensure that the type of lifestyle that we live in the United States is ensured. I'm not necessarily so confident that that's the case. I'm one to believe that every nation has their rights to govern themselves. Every nation should be able to govern themselves. We should all be very cognizant of how we treat our neighbors throughout the world and how we meddle in their affairs. And then take ownership that whatever we do, all kinds of malice that creates malice or chaos in other parts of the nation may come back to us. And there's too many people across this globe who are victims of this malice that takes on, and karma comes back, and we no longer on this planet should consider a lot of these actions as necessary, and collateral damage continue to grow. So that's just my personal opinion about Afghanistan. Keep in mind, just in the past 48 hours, the nation has seen a situation where a suicide bomber came in and took out Marines, and in taking out Marines, they also took out in excess of over 100 fellow Afghani people. Let's not be quick and make aspersions, and we love to believe the big boogeyman is at fault, and some are saying this ISIS-K. Again, we love to glamorize all these sects, these groups, these people that we assume are our enemies, and never understanding that these same groups are the ones that we, America, we, the modern first world nations, have helped to develop. And in doing so, we've built them up to be the entities that they are today. So I don't know who this ISIS-K is. And again, I know of ISIS-K. Come on with these letters and this bullshit. I mean, we already have COVID-19 Delta. Folks are just so enamored with these concepts of adding letters and alphabets and numericals and forgetting that ultimately we have to stop pointing fingers because we're playing a role in all this, you know? So we have to do better, and we have to treat everyone accordingly because the world deserves more. So as we move forward, Afghanistan, in Kabul, it says 20-year-old U.S. Marine killed in Kabul. U.S. Marines being killed in Kabul, Afghanistan. We emphasize our soldiers in foreign lands getting killed. Let's not forget those who are in service for protection of our country. Let's not forget the families that suffer from the deaths of these individuals. But also, let's be very compassionate and remind ourselves that death all the way around is a loss. Anyone that's dead in any of this instance is deserving of a prayer of compassion. We should all keep one another in our prayers. And as we move forward, let's be more compassionate. Stop being so damn aggressive, trying to take over stuff. Because this is, to me, there's more details. And they say the devil's in the details. There's more details that's not being discussed in this whole concept. There's a reason why we're leaving Afghanistan so abruptly. There's a reason why the processes of leaving Afghanistan are as such. There's a reason why it took this long for Afghanistan to be left to its own demise. There's always a reason to. And it's not to say it's a good reason or a bad reason, but there's always a reason. So we need to make sure that we're aware of those details before we make our own judgments what it is. However, again, as I say, as human beings, as better human beings, let's be compassionate. Let's keep them in mind. Let's keep everyone who's involved in mind. Let's put everybody to the task of doing what's right, doing what's just, defend the honor of all living lives, and making sure that we do not interrupt the ways of the land. Let's respect others, and others will respect us. So let's make sure that we move forward and understand our role in this. So that's what's happening in Afghanistan. Also, I'd like to make mention that in Haiti, not too long ago, just within the past 2 weeks, Haiti suffered a massive earthquake again. However, I'm still trying to figure out, Haiti has suffered so many earthquakes. Haiti's on the same island as the Dominican Republic. It's comforting to hear not so much information about the Dominican Republic suffering losses. It's comforting that they have been, or at least appears from a national broadcast most media outcome, that Dominican Republic hasn't suffered a loss or any kind of financial damage, but Haiti's getting destroyed by these earthquakes. We just saw a civil unrest with a coup d'etat that just took place. Whether successful or unsuccessful is still, out there. We don't know whether it's true or not, whether it's been successful or not. However, we've seen a lot of unrest in this nation of Haiti. Let's keep them in mind. Keep paying attention to this stuff. And there's still a lot of question marks that still arise about the facts supporting this climate chaos that's going on. This climactic situation, not climactic, climate-centered anomalies that are taking place in Haiti and other places in the Caribbean. Kind of odd. So I'm not going to say it's HARP, but there's a possibility that something and someone is at play. So either which way, let's keep them in mind. Let's keep them in prayer. Because ultimately, any loss, again, I'll keep saying this, any loss is one too many loss for us. I'd like to move on to also, let's keep in mind the weather anomalies that we've seen again in the United States. And forgive me, y'all, I'm trying to get together my new norm drink, which is lemonade, 2 parts lemonade, 1 part Mountain Dew on ice. It's a little bit of citrus and a whole lot of flavor. So, and these are the little bottles, little cans, correction. So let me take a swig. Man, that's some good tasting stuff. Anyway, if everyone paying attention to the national, there should be national attentions in Tennessee. Just recently, because of weather anomalies, there's been flooding taking place all through the areas surrounding the Mississippi, in the Mississippi Delta area and Ohio rivers. The river overflow in the Tennessee has basically, it's rewriting the map. Certain areas in Tennessee has exceeding water flows, and is seeing water coming to areas that are highly dense in population, and people have lost their lives. So let's keep them in mind, please. Let's make sure you understand that, for anyone who's doubting this, climate change is in your face each and every day. So much so that if you're not paying attention, y'all, you're starting to notice, if you are noticing like me, there's a lot of activity taking place in Hurricane Alley. And for those who may not know, Hurricane Alley is actually just, it's a region of the world, right, that is known, it's the airstream. And the airstream is something that we can foresee, or we can look at and determine or watch hurricanes, and we have to pay attention. Like right now, I'm going to show you things that we need to take very close attention to, because it's very important that we are prepared moving forward. Because the greater Northeast region of America, this is Connecticut, Maine, those areas just saw something that they haven't seen in over 30 years, which is a hurricane. And it's something that we need to pay attention to. So I'm going to show you right now from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, is the things that it's the actual source of weather where most of the national weather bureaus, TV stations get their information. So right now, if you're paying attention here, I don't know if you can see my cursor here, but Hurricane Ida is right now in a situation where it's potentially coming at um, an area that has unfortunately seen a lot of damage because of weather. We're seeing Hurricane Ida is threatening Louisiana, New Orleans. New Orleans, it is right now being um, the government over. Man, it's really difficult. I don't know why my words are seem to be challenged at this point in time, but Louisiana is now facing hardship of yet another hurricane. Hurricane Ida is heading towards New Orleans. I'm trying to get this screen up. I really don't know why it's not able to pop up, but watch it pop up when I least expect it. Anyway, but in this area, you see at 5 o'clock p.m., the hurricane is right on the outskirts of the right on the outskirts of Cuba. And yeah, I think that's the case. I think that's where that is. Let me see if I go back to the last screen because it's easier on that one. Yeah, it's as they say, 5 o'clock. The sustained winds of 70 knots is 80 miles an hour. That's a pretty high pressure. It's 985 megabytes of pressure, central pressure. It's moving at 15 miles per hour or 13 knots. So it's a slow creeping weather anomaly, and it's just right now it's a hurricane. So it's at 80 miles an hour, and it's moving west and not necessarily northwest. So it's moving quite slowly. However, they're suggesting that area, the way the size of this hurricane is increasing, that there'll be more of a threat in New Orleans, which would also mean the winds, the rains, the levees in that area that have been affected that still haven't been 100% replaced to where they should be. So that region of the world, Mississippi, Houston, still has a potential of getting hit once again from another hurricane. So let's pay attention to see how whatever it is that we can do from a national standpoint, if it's necessary for us as a response, let's make sure we're ready to respond. There's a few other ones that you need to pay attention to. Right now, there's a disturbance, cyclone disturbance right off the coast of Brazil. And that is moving, as suggested, as they say, it's moving quickly. Its formation is a chance of 48 hours, high pressure of 80%. And this is moving kind of quickly. And what it does is known to move up the crest of the West Indies. It'll make north of Puerto Rico and it'll head towards Virginia. Bermuda has a potential of getting affected by this hurricane or this chance of a cyclone right now, because it's 80% chance of a cyclone. The cyclone, as it develops, start developing speed and it goes on. And right now, it's between Cabo Verde Islands and the Lesser Antilles. Additional information is expected as it goes on, but it's a tropical depression. This tropical depression shall increase. So you have this wind pressure going on this side. You have this hurricane on this side. Hurricanes pull a lot as it revolves. It pulls a lot of weather into it. So as it's moving, it'll pull everything within that area to move. So this actually becomes an impetus for this to be pulled quicker into the cyclone. If it gets pulled faster, it can be shot either south, which more than likely won't, or it can shoot up north, and it can hit potentially from the Roanoke, Virginia area all the way into the areas that we are in our cusp in the greater Northeast. So we have to be very considerate of this disturbance going on. So That's going to be something that we look forward to, or we look and pay attention to. And there's another disturbance, the cyclone up north in this area in the mid-Atlantic. Some say, why worry about the one that's happening in mid-Atlantic? Well, as I said before, as the cyclone continues and it grows intensity, speed, this is the makings of a quote-unquote perfect storm. You have an anomaly pushing from the southwestern region of our part of the planet. You have something from the southwestern pushing on that side, and then you have a northern anomaly. So as they're all spinning from different directions, they create this super cyclone of weather, and that also falls within that the air the stream, the airstream itself. So we need to make sure that we pay attention to the stuff. When they line up, and it becomes a chaotic atmosphere. So this right here can potentially create a super cyclone setting. However, it takes a lot for them to form, but it's not to say that it won't or can't. The last time we saw some anomaly like this form into something that was dangerous is when Superstorm Sandy came and hit us, where it went up the coast, it went past us, and it hit a U-turn and came back and hit us directly. So it's something that we have to pay attention, the way this weather and the stream itself, the airstream, is moving around. So let's see if I can get some more details. I want to see if I can push up another screen, something that you guys can look at and really see how the potential is moving on. I want to show this, the intensity, the wind speed possibilities for this hurricane that's coming from off of Cuba. And as you see the intensities move on here, you have percentages, high percentage inside the cyclone area, where this is the center. And as you see, it's going to hit New Orleans in this region here. And then you have lesser speed, lesser damage as it goes out, and it goes from purple all the way to green. As you see the green area, you got Houston, Texas in this area right here that can still be affected by this weather. So if this by some chance gets pushed by that other anomaly further west, or it slows down even more so, when it slows down, it actually picks up intensity, oddly enough. Picks up intensity. And as it picks up intensity, it becomes even more damaging. So if by some chance it slows up another 1%, 2%, it has a potential of going further into Texas and more directly into Louisiana. So it's more and more of a damage. So this whole Gulf of Mexico has a lot of weather risks being taking place right now. And if you see on the far left-hand side of this, off the coast of Mexico, it's another weather anomaly that's taking place on this side as well. So you have this one that is a cyclone in that area spinning, and you have this one. If by some chance they're spinning in the same direction, if you know how things are, they won't consume each other. They will bounce off one another. So this one in Mexico will have a tendency of bumping up this anomaly right here. It's not even an anomaly. We know what it is. This weather formation right now, it'll keep it on track. So this large weather pattern on the farthern, outside the our borders here in the ocean, and the one on the other side of Mexico, all of this is going to impact this hurricane coming in, Hurricane Ida. So we need to make sure that we're ready to address it and respond to it the best way possible. Let me see what else I can pull up here so you guys can see some additional stuff. So, folks, if you're ever interested in checking it out yourself, it's one of those type of things I like to do, not as a hobby. I think since Superstorm Sandy came in, I paid attention more to the weather because it reminded me how volatile that we truly are. Let me see if I can move this over, because yeah, there we go. This is a good one. I like when you see this. All right, this one, it's a little different. This is a radar map. It's a satellite map from 4:47 p.m. Today. As you see the weather itself, you'll see the cyclones, the areas of the cyclone. You have Ina on this side. You have a 40%. That's right now the disturbance cyclone in the mid-ocean. They haven't named it yet. More than likely it'll be J or whatever. The second one over here, the disturbance right off the coast of Africa, right in Cabo Verde. But you see up here in the northern region, you have something else here. And as all the weather stream comes out, Most hurricanes come off the coast of Africa, coming here. I don't know if anyone's paid attention, but if you paid attention to what I've said before, to me, this is the same route as the diamond slave trade that took Africans from the motherland of Africa, and taking them from their motherland onto the New World. And this is the route that they took. So, for the millions of souls that were lost in the slave trade, this is the unrest that has developed throughout the years because of this. So, this is the disturbances in our atmosphere because of the millions of souls that were still left without justice, or millions of souls lost in the diamond slave trade. So, it's one of those type of things. It's just my own personal opinion about this, and this is how I look at it. Because this, like I said, this pattern of weather seems to stir up always, and it's right in the same path. It hits the same areas where the diamond slave trade was rampant, the areas that was most used. And it's not just solely here, because sometimes the coast of Africa, you'll see weather anomalies that go south. So it hits the other areas outside of Brazil and Argentina. And also, this continues going on. This is not just one path, because the way the airstream goes on, it goes across the entire globe. And so it depends if you have the Canadian stream or if you have the South American stream comes in, it goes and it travels like waves. So the waves themselves travel out throughout the globe, and these weathers build up. Sometimes they have enough strength to travel from one side of the globe all the way over until it finally dies down somewhere close to its origins. Or it comes out and it smacks and it really hits and it does damages in specific areas, then it dissipates. I guess it depends on, there's so many other factors involved, it depends on, but either which way, that's real things. It's certain areas of the globe that doesn't see this type of weather pattern because we're outside of the Gulf Stream. So it's just things to consider. So that's something that we need to consider, y'all. We need to make sure that this right here, the disturbance, doesn't develop any stronger, which more than likely will by the time it hits Puerto Rico or the Greater Antilles, or yeah, I think it's the Greater Antilles, I think, to make it right. But once it hits in that area, we should be able to see how fast the veracity is, whether it's going to go to the Bahamas, whether it's going to anx out towards Bermuda, or is it just going to go smack dab into Roanoke and then disturb us in the Northeast at this time. Either which way, let's be prepared for. In case you are not familiar with emergency evacuation plans in your immediate area, you should definitely pay attention to creating a emergency evacuation plan. You can go to the NOAA website, that's NOAA.gov, and in their media resources, they'll have lists prepared for you that you can check off and fill in as you like to for emergency action plans. On those lists, it tells you what you should have always in preparation. It talks about needing to have water, having water for at least 3 to 4 days, having food for about 3 or 4 days, having prescriptions of medicine in a paper form, sealed inside of a plastic pocket, or a hefty bag or glad bag, whatever the option for you. It also talks about how it's necessary for you to have a list of all your loved ones, have emergency contact of everyone that you are related to, possibly having a list of all the people that you are related to and their addresses also as information in case someone gets lost, or they've been displaced and they're not able to speak on their behalf of who they're related to because of whatever issue. God forbid that happens, but it's the truth. We have to make sure we're prepared. In addition to having finances, having some money available. There was some having a month available, but in the economy today, pandemic, in a situation, we're happy as hell when we have at least a week's worth of money or food. So God forbid this happens and a hurricane hits this way, but if it does, that means we're going to have to rely a lot more on one another to get through. And I will say this, I know we can do it. I know we're better than we've shown, and I know that we have the resources to protect one another and preserve life. Let's do so. Let's make sure we're wise about stuff. Let's not be greedy, as we've seen so often in this pandemic. And what I mean was, oh my God, it's so good. You got to try it. Anyway, in this pandemic, we've seen so much of a national outcry to address the pandemic and the risks of it affecting our lives. And in doing so, it's also, we've seen a national outcry for businesses, finances, money, people who are losing money because the pandemic restricts activities, restricts people from doing what has been normal to them, going out to a movie, going out to food, hanging out, going to bars and what have you. And these industries have been impacted immensely. Even travel, planes and what have you. Other nations have been affected. Places like Australia and New Zealand shut their doors. You can't come in or out of their country until their coast is clear, which I think did a great service to their nation. But unfortunately, the way things are, as soon as you start trying to please everybody, stuff happens. And this is what you've seen recently. As America was starting to open our doors again and opportunities for businesses to be able to flourish once again really came back, and people were really headstrong and we're out here, we're out here, we're doing this stuff, we're outside, and so on and so forth. Yeah, but so was the pandemic, so was the virus, so were people carrying super spreaders, and even situations where we've seen, like in Chicago, with that mass, what was it, Lollapalooza in Chicago, where we saw tens of thousands of people elbow to elbow, nobody wearing masks, And although we love to say that we're trying to do is whatever we possibly can to be very proactive, to ask people to submit documentation to prove they've been vaccinated. However, we've also seen that there's resources out there or people out there who have falsified documents and are making money selling false documents. And we know that this is going to be a big business also, because there's going to be restrictions to the point where you can't travel unless you have been vaccinated. You have to show a vaccination card. You won't be able to participate in just about anything that you love to do, whether it's going to a movie, going to a restaurant, or what have you, without having to prove that you've been vaccinated. It worries me because in our frantic wants, our frantic needs to be liberated and to be what we've always thought we could be, we're also placing others at risk. And that risk is something that we cannot allow for it to impede in the lives of others, man. We have to be very conscious about what's going on. I saw, that's the question I'm having right now, because right now on Facebook, I don't see anybody. I don't see anyone chatting. I see Renee. Hey, Renee, how you doing? Hoping you're well. I don't see much activity. I'm wondering if there's something on the show that's preventing it. But let me know, folks. If you can hear me, let me know, y'all. If there's some audio problem, let me know. If it's a video issue, if there's some odd reason you can't get through, let me know. Things happen. I tell you, I said it all the time. Facebook is always trying to shut a brother down. I ain't made $1. I'm not making a national request. You don't see me go viral. I'm just, little guy in some, flower shirts, drinking soda and lemonade. I'm talking about things and sharing my opinion. I don't know. But as we continue, it's extremely important that we pay attention. So to create this evacuation plan, please check the NOAA and go there and get this information and create this emergency evacuation plan. Put a bag to the side with enough clothing, resources that can protect you, and then make some phone calls. Try to see what it costs to stay at a hotel in a safe area, safe zone, or with family members. Make arrangements. I myself, when Superstorm Sandy came about, my family left town. I stayed for as long as I possibly could. Of course, I couldn't stay until the very end, but I stayed until I remember it was hours before Sandy came in, the closest it came in. It was scary. It was extremely scary. The weather, and again, I applaud the people who work in public works, who were riding around in the 5-ton trucks and doing what they can to make sure that debris was pushed away, that it doesn't cause a problem for evacuation vehicles. I applaud um, the national National Guard for coming in, for people who had reached out to me through using social networks as I was streaming live at times when I could, or at least making sure that people were aware of things were going on um, through the, I think it's called the S1. I forget the exact term. It's a room where all the emergency agencies come together as a one location home base to address issues in a national emergency the way that is. Well, I remember getting phone calls from people about others scared about family members that stayed, um, and reflecting on reasons why people stayed. People were staying because their dogs or pets couldn't come with them because hotels wouldn't allow pets, or they didn't want to become a burden to family members or others outside of the area because they had pets. Some of our elderly, they're just too tired. They figured they've seen so much in their lives that they know how to work with it, because a lot of seniors have seen a lot of bad weather, and Atlantic City has been hit with some major hurricanes in the past, and they've survived it. They did what they needed to do. Anchor down, shut down doors, close things up, putting furniture in front of the doors, closing the windows, making sure it was boarded up, and stayed close to one another and did what they had to do to weather the storm. They did it. Not to say that you can't, but as the water table increases, water damage, it encroaches a lot more, and water can damage the infrastructure of all the homes. And we've seen lots of water creep into our town. And on that day, when I saw it breach the way it did, it was not a comforting scene when I'm watching ocean water go from the beach to the bay without a break, no land in between. And from all the way up to, I think it was Sovereign Avenue, down to Mid City. I think the water was all the way down to Indiana Avenue. From Indiana to like Sovereign Avenue, it was water all over. And then there was breaks in parts of town where you see some land rise. I had to take a break, and I had to find one region that was like right next to the PAL building off of Brooklyn Avenue. I had to park my truck at that time up on the sidewalk because that was the highest part away the water, to at least take a nap. I didn't sleep much during that week, so I had to take a nap and take a deep breath and whatever. 5 minute nap was quick, and then I had to be out of there because the water was rising even more. So, but that was my reflection. Let's pay attention to what's going on. This is not to scare you, but I want you to be prepared. Weather is real, and the weather has changed much because of how we've treated the atmosphere, how we've never lived up to our potential to really care for this beautiful rock that we live on, as in the earth, the way we should. So just pay attention, and as we move forward, be courteous to one another by doing what we can do and making sure that we're there. So those that need us, let's make sure we're there for them. So that's the weather. I want to also to talk a little bit about um, the other things that are happening around the nation. One thing that we talked about, there's a discussion about the insurrection. And you see more and more of the vigilantes, as they say, video vigilantes are on the internet looking for all the people that were involved in the insurrection. And the discussion that is arising is, why is the FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, seems to be doing such a horrible job in locating all these people who were part of this insurrection that took place in Washington, D.C.? Why are the FBI doing such a horrible job, and normal Americans seem to be doing so much better, using the same resources, the internet, social media, being familiar with things? Um, and you see vigilantes or video vigilantes are finding these individuals and backtracking. One of the things that I get entertained about is on TikTok. TikTok has become probably a resource of so much information and humor to me. I love it. Oh, and national pride as well, and international pride. There's a lot of stuff on TikTok, so I appreciate TikTok for what it is, what it's become. But on TikTok, there's a lot of people who are um, I would say they're vigilantes in some aspect. If they find some atrocity, something happening, some goober wants to act real disrespectful, racial bias for somebody else. If they get caught in video, they will go on the hunt. They will find that person, find their job, um, let the employers know that this person's involved in this and that. Let the authorities know who this person is, name, address, affiliations, everything. Find them all, and then make that person's life or people's life a nightmare until they come to justice. And we've seen that on countless occasions, on quite a few occasions already, where people are being hunted down by these internet-based vigilantes, and it's a trip, man. It is really a trip how things are happening that way. So the question that's going on is, I'm wondering why it appears that the FBI is doing such a horrible job. We don't see the Federal Bureau of Investigation do as good of a job as they used to when it comes to national crime syndicates and things like this. It seems to be something that seems to be very rare. I don't know why. I really don't know why. Brother Adrian, I just hit it up thinking about you, and the link's right there, bro. So just pay attention to video or internet-based vigilantes. If you're bold enough to be disrespectful, like I think the last one we saw, some idiots on the train be racially biased versus African American women, elderly women on a train, and they've really been aggravated and they're assaulting this individual, and they thought they were going to get away with it. Boy, did they wake up to a whole new perspective. They found the people, found out where they work, their affiliations, the whole nine, even suspected alliances with people that were illegally involved. So they got them. They got them good. So I guess that's the last time they called people out their name. Well, good evening to my brother Adrian. How are you, man?
What's going on, young man? What's good on, bro? You all right?
Yeah, how you feel this evening?
Not bad, man. Can't complain, man.
Good to
It's
hear.
what happens when you're blessed by the best. You know what I'm saying? God
Indeed,
is good.
indeed. Bless the rest, right?
That's right.
Oh, excuse me, man. This Monster Cup. I love you finding these 99-cent deals all over the place.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. They got a lot of stores with that. And, hey, we're doing a pandemic type thing these days. You know what I'm saying?
Oh man. Speaking about the pandemic, you've seen how there's a lot of discussion about retail. I think it's called. I forget the term. I was just watching something late at night, and they were talking about how all these companies are raking in benefits coming from the pandemic. Like we saw, Amazon made billions, if not trillions, right?
True.
And there's more companies like the Koch brothers owning Georgia Pacific, which is the second largest or the world's largest paper producing company in the world, that also has toilet paper.
Mm-hmm.
Pandemic, we went crazy. Toilet paper wasn't delivered, and so they made all this money. In addition to some of the issues was because the truck drivers, there weren't enough truck drivers to deliver these things because of the way the national bans were starting to affect.
Right.
So there was so much going on that now there's a review of this pandemic and how the finances around the pandemic were taking place, because it seemed like a lot of this stuff was strategic. It's some crazy shit, but some of the stuff was strategic. It's like you had people had inside information on the potential of this pandemic hitting the world, and they figured they're looking at it, looking at national trends, looking at business trends and what have you, and then
Mm-hmm.
creating these crazy opportunities. Like you wouldn't think there would be such a need, a national need for stupid shit. Maple syrup. You couldn't find maple syrup for a while. So what it made it
Somebody
does,
was eating a lot of pancakes, man. Come on.
yeah,
When you stayed at home, you get hungry.
yeah.
You know
But
what I'm saying? Come on. Call it
it,
for what it is, man.
it reminds me of the Cleves and Arpels situation. You heard of the term blood diamonds, right?
Yeah. I'm
All right,
familiar with it.
right. Well, in for those of you who may not know, Cleves and Arpels is known for an international company that works with diamonds. What they have done is taken and if not mined up as many diamonds as becomes available on the continent of Africa, and they surplus all the stuff and keep it together so they can manage the value of diamonds. Because they keep them all, they determine the value of diamonds. So it's the same concept. The blood diamonds, meaning people were basically being killed and enslaved to produce diamonds and to mine stuff, and they were getting pennies on a dollar if they were getting paid at all. So that's what the term blood diamonds is really important for. If you're not really aware of this stuff, pay attention, because the culture itself, hip hop culture and culture today, plus the whole concept of women and diamonds and marriage and engagement with the diamonds. Really look into that stuff. You might look at diamonds.
But you know something. But yeah, you've heard that, you've seen the show that on CNBC. It's called The Prophet. You've seen that show before? Okay. They've done a study. They've done a series, as a matter of fact, not even a series, but they've done a particular show on the diamonds. As far as the value of the diamonds and where they came from, the whole 9 yards. So they went pretty in deep. A lot of the diamonds these days are now being made in laboratories now.
Right,
because of, just like you said, because of the blood diamonds in Africa and the whole 9 yards, they start making a lot of these diamonds in laboratories now. And the quality is very, very high and very good. You won't be able to tell. Stunning. I'm like, it's unreal.
Mm-hmm.
So you might go to a famous place that sell diamonds and stuff, and you might be just buying a diamond, not from Africa or anything like that, but something that was made in a laboratory now. Right. Because man has become so perfected as far as making things and emulating the way how nature actually creates things.
Yeah.
So it's very hard to distinguish the real from the fake anymore.
Yeah. I know the first attempt to actually fabricate a diamond created this thing called a moissanite. And moissanites are dark. They're dark gray and shiny and everything, but they have the crystallization just like a diamond. The points are strong just as a diamond. It's the clarity is the only thing that was in the way from your determining a moissanite and a real diamond. And like you just said, dealing with labs and stuff, the technology.
In labs.
They're creating everything. So
everything is going in a lab. Everything is either coming out or going into a lab. You take it. That's the way it's going to be.
Everything is lab created. So for you young folks out there, if you are learning craft or something to do in a lab, I think you got a very good future in front of you.
It's a different world we're living in, bro. It's a different world we're living in.
And we're all test tube babies in one aspect or another, ain't it?
But it is what it is. You know what I'm saying?
I was just talking to my son last night. We were talking about some of the things, some of the idea career opportunities that could be afforded him if depending on this field of education in college. And one of the things we talked about is technology. And, him thinking about engineering. I said, cool, but think about what we need on this planet. Not what sounds cool right now, but what we need. If you work on engineering and food engineering and working in technology with medical and health and stuff like that, you'll never be without a job.
Correct.
Said, you got all this GMOs, genetically modified organics.
Food and a whole lot of stuff, yeah.
Everything, medicine.
But something also, Mo, you have to look at, because now with Afghanistan and the Taliban and China and Russia, you look at a lot of more hacking. Remember, you can fight a war one of two ways. You can do it physically or you can do it virtually. So a lot of the wars in the near future is going to be fight virtually. So the NSA and these guys are going to be hiring for cybersecurity. Mm-hmm. So you get into that field of cybersecurity and dealing with computers and this type of stuff. That's where it's going. Somebody could clean out your bank by the time you go there tomorrow morning with nothing but ones and zeros, and your bank account is gone. They can funnel all that kind of stuff. Cybersecurity is going to be very big. You see how many times, Equifax and some of these guys keep getting hit over and over, and they turn around like, we need more people in cybersecurity and that's what's going to happen. Because Afghanistan might seem miles away, but with the computer and the internet and the World Wide Web and the dark web, it creates a different scenario here.
Mm-hmm. Well, the concept of itself, cybersecurity, is immense. Some people just don't necessarily understand, so they figure it's just that. No, the engineering aspect, cell phones. There's so much involved in security itself.
Yes.
It's just the internet-based security systems is what we're talking about. The top 5 security firms that work for virus protection and hackware and ransomware are located in Israel, in Jerusalem. And because the way they're set up in the world, they're the strongest defense mechanisms because they work with one another. But as always, if you have somebody creating something, more than likely somebody is in your back, working to see how they can backdoor you one way or the other. So it's very important for you to protect yourself.
Look how many during the pandemic. Look at how many websites were actually going down because they were hacked.
Mhm.
Schools, and the thing about it is, some of these schools were actually paying the ransom, $5 million ransom. They're not going to say anything on the news because they don't want to be embarrassed. But some of the schools were actually hacked, and they had to pay the ransom. The police department were actually hacked, and they had to pay the ransom to get their files back.
Mhm. Yep. Well, one of the ones that I know, two banks were hacked and nothing really happened. One was, oh shit, uh, Deutschland Bank.
Okay.
Deutschland Bank got hacked internationally. They got hit for, I think it was $5 billion that got paid in a ransom. Biggest question in the world: how the hell is a bank that big get hit? One. Secondly, why are you paying? And there's so much discussion about Deutschland Bank. Deutschland Bank is known, just like Banco Popular. It's another international entity that's been known to be dealing with people who are undesirables. They hide money for drug dealers, major corporations, barons, frauds, government generals, warlords, and so on and so forth. And Deutschland Bank has hid a lot of information when it came to Nazi Germany. They had a lot of wealth on them. So some of the people instead was they're going to pay the $5 billion because they don't want to lose the $500 trillion they have hidden. So I was like, it makes sense. You attack those individuals who have most to lose, and they will pay up.
Remember the oil wells that actually got hit last year?
Mhm.
It was up in North Jersey when they actually, hit these oil refineries. And those guys went and they, some of these guys, they paid a certain amount of money. The hacking is going to continue. You can fight a virtual war, you can fight a physical war.
Yep.
And I think a lot of these crooks and criminals are getting very sophisticated when it comes down to computers. And they, one of the top guys, they're still looking for these guys around the planet because they're freaking good at hiding.
Yeah. Even in the concept of this cybersecurity concept, most of these wars nowadays, when you talk about big boys like America, they're fought through drones. There's very little people or personnel fighting on the ground. I mean, when they do that, it's more so recovery or reconnaissance and stuff like that. But most of it is done through internet-based armament. Drones and remote targeting and stuff like that. There's so much technology involved in this whole concept, but we have to be very conscious.
Have you seen the one man flying suit? The
Yes.
guy that actually has like a bat wings or whatever the case. Maybe hits a button and he's flying in the air. And the military was testing that out also.
Yeah. It sounds cool as hell. The only thing about it, it's only strong enough to go, as they say, 30 seconds. It's not. He can't carry enough fuel for it. It's a really fly ass concept.
What they show you, in the general public is totally different from what they're holding back. Always.
Oh yeah.
So if you say it's flies, oh look at that, it only flies for 15 minutes or 15 seconds. Those boys in the back room already figured it out, but they don't want you to know up front, obviously.
One thing I will say though, with the age of the internet and the way technology is, there's a lot less time frame between what is the reality and what we see.
Correct.
Before, in the past, we would see something and we would say, "I'm not happening," and it was happening 15 years ago. Now we see something that just occurred last week. So we're getting a time frame where we start to become aware of a lot of stuff. Like one of the things was the flying car. That was the Jetsons back in the day, and we thought the Jetsons and the flying car wouldn't happen. Here comes a company from, I think it was the Netherlands, Norway, created a flying car. It's now
Toyota. Toyota has one also.
He's created a flying car, and it wasn't set up for military use. He got it for regular retail use, and he's selling it. And I saw the bike that was a hover bike that only Saudi Arabia has ownership, and they use it in the police department. I'm like, I'd love to see that shit try to come around in a windstorm. Technology is amazing, man.
It is. And it will forever keep advancing. That's the thing, because they always have to stay one step ahead. Mm-hmm. So forever keep advancing.
Yep. Speaking of that, I just saw a video. Was it yesterday? I was just watching. Sometimes you watch some video and you're too tired to grab the remote control to change it from there, so it goes from one video to the next video to the next video. It was like 4 videos in, and then in comes it was a 15-second revelation of the newest jet the America has in the armament. Said it just peeked out. Someone caught it peeking out of a thing, and it looks bad as hell. This is the most space age new jet, and goes Mach 2. It's so fast as Mach 2. So I said, "Oh shit, it's on now." And the way it is, the way it's set up is like I can see that happening now, and it has a it has the ability like an Osprey to hover and shoot at Mach 2. And we're talking about something that's smaller than the F-13 or F-22 Raptor, and it has the same potential damage and payload and everything. But because it flies the way it does and is able to fly higher according to the specs, it goes at another distance. So something else to look at. I'm still waiting for that cross-continental plane to come back, to possibly maybe.
Oh, the Concorde?
Yeah.
The Concorde.
Yeah,
I remember the Concorde very well.
Yeah, used to
I
be
remember the Concorde. Yeah, I remember it was a nice bird, man. I'm telling you.
They're doing it again.
They're going to bring it back. Because what happened, from the last one when they actually canceled all of the Concords was because of the accident that actually transpired. But what they come to find out through an investigation is that a plane landed on that same airstrip, earlier before the Concorde came in. And that's how it blew up one of the tires, causing everything to actually go totally awry. And then after that, they're like, forget about it. We're just going to cancel all the Concords. But they're going to bring it back because it's the future.
Well, there was some more discussion about this Concorde not too long ago, and we saw, if I'm not taking, Virgin Atlantic was involved in trying to develop.
Atlantic, correct? Yeah, Branson.
Yep, and they developed the same thing like a Concorde. It's pretty big, really nice. Because then it rose the same question. It kept saying, why is it that with technology consistently goes, but it still takes so much time for us to travel transatlantic, intercontinentally? It takes more time. Actually, now we've slowed down through technology. So someone posed that question in a TED Talk not long ago. So the discussion is, are we slowing down on purpose? Or is it done so because there's something else developing? The ozone seems to be impeding. It's starting to move lower into the atmosphere. So people can't fly higher. Something that I was told about that. I said, oh no. Some nonsense. Anyway, so it's just something that'd be cool as hell to get on, something like that. I always said, let me hit the right lottery. I'm gonna get that helicopter, to fly back in there and then jump in a plane. I'll meet you I'll meet you in China for some grub. Watch the soccer match.
What Wuhan, China?
Wuhan.
Wuhan.
Something like that. But I always say, man, it would be really fly to just jump in a jet and then be someplace in a couple hours and you're there.
There's an old saying, be careful what you wish for because it might come true. I've always believed in that statement.
I'm wishing
for what you wish for. Be careful for what you wish for because it might just get it.
I'm wishing.
Hey, just keep hope alive, like Jesse would say, keep hope alive.
Oh yeah. So how's your week been, man?
Hey, like I said, staying busy, staying occupied, and just keep it pushing, man. That's what it's all about. We've been watching this crazy stuff about Afghanistan here and there on the news, which I think is an entire shit show by itself, the way how everything is going about. It's crazy. It reminds me how the FBI, those guys have a motto, and the United States never negotiate with terrorists, but then he did it with the Taliban. I know when they cut that deal with the Taliban because Trump was in office. And I said, this is bad, man. I'm telling you. So basically, Trump set the stage and Biden fell on it. That's how it went. That's exactly how it went.
I was cracking up how people were saying this is the Taliban 2.0. They're kinder, more considerate. I was like,
then I sent you that. I sent you,
yeah.
How this says we're kind of more considerate Taliban. We're better. Yeah, exactly. That's funny.
2.0 going to come back out. They're like, yeah, we love our women and so on and so forth. Come on, man. This is just a smile. And then all of a sudden, bam, here comes the bomber type stuff.
Exactly.
Yo, don't play with that bullshit. The Americans are so stupid. Watch what we do. Watch. Smile.
But like I said, they said they never negotiate with terrorists. And that's exactly what they've done. So that is giving away your strongest hand by itself. So if you're playing poker, you just reveal all your cards. So those guys have nothing to worry about. They're like, oh yeah, the FBI is a good show to watch on TV, but that's about it. And that's what it really boils down to because it's no longer serious. That's it.
You know what's crazy? Because the debate continues. You know how Trump was dealing with the Taliban in one aspect. They're trying to. They're mentioning how when President Obama was trying to meet them at Camp David to really make an arrangement for peace in that nation, in that side of the nation, and they're like, "Well, he did this, he did that." I'm like, if he's trying to preserve life back then, and Biden is talking about preserving life, then what the hell actually happened in between? Trump. That's what
Everything
happened in
is
between.
getting lost. Everything is getting lost, in transition. That's what it really boils into. A lot of things are getting lost in transition,
Yeah,
and a lot of people gonna die. It's just, that's the cold hard facts. It's sad,
it
but
is.
it's true.
It is so sad. I was watching a video again when you saw the planes take off and all of the human beings holding onto the wheels and then falling off. It was so tragic, man. I had the opportunity. I was invited to go to the Bangladeshi Association's 1 year anniversary, um, or their anniversary,
Mhm.
Mala, here in Beta Field, and I was had the opportunity to talk to a few people about that because I know Bangladesh and Afghanistan are adjoining countries, and there's always been some bitterness amongst the countries.
Mhm.
But everyone is basically together with the concept that they're all in heart because they're Muslim. They love their brothers and sisters, and there's so much consideration. I mean, it was telling me, it said 9,000 Afghani people are heading this way, and the majority of delegates here are calling on to the governor to say that Atlantic City would be a good destination for them to come in, and this community here will open them with open arms. All I kept thinking was 9,000 people. That is a big boost.
Yeah, that is huge, humongous.
I said, that's a lot of people. I said, America is big enough that we can basically absorb more and more people that goes along. But, we have to understand what we can and
But
can't
the same thing more. They're talking about 9,000 people, like you've just mentioned, coming into this country.
do. Hmm.
But at the same time, you still have a lot of Mexicans and people from South America still trying to get into this country.
Right, right,
So
right,
look at the influx coming in from both sides. You have one that actually bring them in on planes, and the
right.
others are trying to get across the border, and it says no, we're going to shut it down because that's what the Supreme Court that just actually did. It says we're going to reinstate President Donald Trump. Whereas all of these people are going to have to stay in Mexico before they get processed to come into the United States. So the Mexican government is saying no, we'll have to ship those people either further back because we don't have the accommodations to actually do all of this type of stuff, the resources in place.
Yeah. The more and more you see it, the more this is going to expose how foul and messed up this whole immigration process is, because you had people who are peaceful and people who are just looking for an opportunity to come into the nation and be an asset to the nation, and then you got individuals who've been thrust into a chaotic situation
Correct.
needing some resolve also. So it's going to be immense. I know they
But
try to minimize the immigration process and try to
it's
belittle
going
it,
to be a mess. It's a mess. It's going to
but
be a mess.
it's going to be extreme mess,
You
and it's
know?
something that we have to be very considerate of because these are human beings nonetheless.
Yeah,
But
but at the same time, remember, look at what's going on in Cuba. Because a lot of those people in Cuba are still trying to come to the United States because of the unrest in Cuba.
yeah,
And look at what's going on also in Haiti. Because you have a lot of people in Haiti going across the border to DR, because it's becoming crazy over there also.
there's a lot of stuff going on.
So America is caught up in this whirlwind of all of these people trying to come to this country during COVID. And that's the problem right there.
Hmm.
That's the problem during COVID.
And that's not even to say, even speak on the 800-pound gorilla, which is the white supremacists coming from Argentina and Brazil that are pushing people out of those countries, and they're fleeing those countries because of white supremacy and some of the dangers involved, and they're going north. Where are they heading here in Canada? Canada closed their doors. They just recently opened it up to us, but they're not allowing anyone else to flourish to come into those countries. So we've got a major issue to be
A
concerned about.
major issue, definitely.
We should be compassionate, but we got to be very aggressive to make sure that we stay in control. Because if not, this can really come back and haunt us later on.
Or certainly,
Yeah,
certainly.
I'm hoping that the Afghani people will soon be able to return back to their countries and become safe, and really see and come into fruition an Afghanistan that they've always wanted for themselves and their family, man. I'm hoping that's the case because people
Well,
deserve.
basically, there's a substantial amount of people actually fleeing Afghanistan, saying to hell with America, so they're going into Pakistan.
Yep. Yep.
So that's why a lot of them are heading straight into Pakistan as we speak.
Mm-hmm. But the only thing about that one is that that the Taliban base is in the Pakistan hills. The Pakistani hills is where the stronghold of the Taliban is. So them trying
the
to
Taliban just took over Afghanistan.
Mm-hmm.
But what they're looking at that's doing the bombing right now, they actually identify these guys as ISIS-K.
Yeah,
Is an offset of ISIS.
That bugged me out. All I kept thinking was
they came up with their own letters.
That's almost like now we had COVID-19. Now it's COVID-19 Delta. Now it's K. What are they gonna say? Kappa? Come on, man.
Yeah, that's what's going on now. So now they're actually saying this is ISIS-K now. So Joe Biden, like, wherever you are, we're going to come and we're going to get you. Then we said the same thing with the Taliban, and we said the same thing about Al-Qaeda, and we said the same thing about ISIS.
Always talking tough. Always talking tough.
It goes all the way back to George Bush Jr.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, he caused a lot of that administration, George Bush Jr., when he was with
they struck the match. They struck the match right there.
Well, remember when him and Reagan were together, arm in arm.
That's George Bush Sr.
Yeah, they created a lot of the animosity because George Bush Sr. Was he was over top of the CIA.
Correct.
And because of all the stuff that was going on, all the paramilitary stuff that was happening across the world, it caused a lot of this animosity back then.
It caused a hell of a lot of stuff that's going on today.
Hell yeah, still ringing on today. Yep.
The war on drugs, as it says, look at a lot of places are legalizing, pot and weed. But during remember Nancy Reagan, this is drugs. This is your brain's own drugs. Any question? You remember that little commercial?
Yeah, be like, yo, give me 2 pieces.
And that's what I'm talking about. It started off with these guys back then. The drug czar is like, look, we could actually go after people that smoking pot and weed as a drug, and we could actually shut them down, put them in jail. And the majority of those people were brown, black, and minorities that they were putting in jail. Then the Contra situation, they actually, with the guns coming in, from South America and putting the stuff in the city of LA and the whole 9 yards when they had the Bloods and the Crips warring back then.
Yep. And it's sad because, and I said this before, pay attention to the details. What we see as far as the reason why this animosity may not necessarily be, because Afghanistan is known to have one of the largest fields cultivating, if I'm not mistaken, it's heroin.
Poppy fields, correct.
Yep. So opium and
opium, heroin. Yes, indeed.
So one of the largest fields in the world. So all this war against drug that started in Afghanistan, that was the big boys fighting over a crop. That's what they wanted to control, like they did in Vietnam. It's a shame. But we're probably never going to see the truth until decades, if not hundreds, years later, when somebody writes a book or something or whatever it's going to be called in the future.
But here was a perfect example. Billy Joel said it best. We didn't start the fire. The fire's been burning since the world started turning. And I agree with that. Damn. That's what Billy Joel said. And I totally agree with that. We didn't start this fire. This has been burning for so long before we even stepped foot. Because even before this was Vietnam. And if you think about yourself during Vietnam, you was a baby during the Vietnam era. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, exactly. Right. So we didn't start it. It was before the world started turning. So this goes all in because it's money, power, and respect. At the end of the day, that's all it really boils down to: money, power, and respect. You spoke about the pandemic. We know that why is it that Walmart was making a substantial amount of money when to tell all of the other stores to shut down? So a lot of the small business, mom and pop businesses went out of business. But they said we were selling the same thing as Walmart. What makes them so different from us? Mm-hmm. That was the argument, when this pandemic first struck. Mm-hmm. And this is what's happening. It's no different. When you see Jeff Bezos and these guys celebrating, taking rockets up into the air that's shaped like a penis, and all of this kind of nonsense. That's what it's shaped like. That's what they put on TV to say a penis rocket. You know what I'm saying? That's what it was, a penis rocket. Right. They're celebrating because they made so much money during the pandemic. Everybody went virtual. Facebook made a crack load of money. Zoom came into play. And so this is what we're having right today.
That's funny as hell because it went going into space to remind everybody I screwed all y'all.
You screwed all everybody. Exactly. You got a penis rocket.
That's funny.
Yeah.
But that's the truth, man. But let me commend you, man. I would not think of using Billy Joel as a reference with that type of that lyric. More, you are on point with these lyrics. Damn, Billy Joel. Damn.
I told you
I'm
when
hearing the song. As soon as you said I'm hearing the song, I'm hearing the song immediately. I'm like, damn, you on it, man. You are on it. That's right.
yeah, like I told you, I'm a music man. I'm telling you, the lyrics, and ironically enough, because growing up, I wasn't much into music until, my older brother introduced me to it. And then I'm like, really? Then I started learning to the lyrics to different songs and the whole 9 yards. Then it was a rap. It was a rap.
I heard that. I can appreciate that though, man. But that was so on point. But you're right. It's like that. It's just you know what one thing, and I wanted to talk a little bit about that in the show today. Um, it just shows the time frame, the eras. Like in
Correct.
our era in music, people use music to talk about the times, talk
Correct.
about the issues.
Relate
You
to what's going on.
know what I mean? And music has always been a vehicle of
Yeah.
reflection. You know what I'm saying? It was
It's a
always
culture.
been.
It's an art. It's an
Right.
art.
It's always. However, I don't see too much of that stuff now. I don't see that
Because
type of
because
reflection.
because a lot of these guys went shallow. That's the reason why they don't know how to communicate anymore. That's the problem. Because look at it. If you look at Grandmaster Flash way back in the day, it was called The Message. The Message had a message in it. Back in the day, that's why they called it The Message. They had the other one is called Survival.
Yep.
Only the strongest shall survive. It's called Survival. And that had a message in it. A lot of the music that we listened to earlier in life had messages built within it.
Yep.
And that's what we actually live. A lot of us live by it here and there.
That was considered, the message was considered the first rap that had a message to it.
Correct.
Everything else was more so about parties.
Correct. Exactly. Yeah.
That was the first pro wellness or social
Yeah.
awareness song
And-
ever written.
And Grandmaster Flash is from Barbados. Go figure that one out. He's West Indian.
Okay.
Yeah, it's one of the neighboring islands. I would know that.
Cool.
Land of the flying fish.
Yeah, he's a funny guy. I was blessed to meet him, Cool Herc, and some of the other
Yeah.
fine icons back in when we had
And
the
he
DJ circle.
started the cutting and scratching. He was down in his basement, and he thought he scratched the record, and it became an art.
Turned the mistake into an iconic moment.
It was a mistake, exactly.
Yep. But you're right, man. When it comes to music nowadays, you don't see the same type of reflection, and it's a shame because music is something that always it speaks highly about your experience. Like I know I can remember times in my life I hear a song, and if I haven't heard it for a long time, I can remember almost what I was doing when that song came about. Especially if it's something that's epic, something monumental. I can remember what I did during that song.
It brings back memories, Mo. Look, a lot of people, end up having kids to Luther Vandross. A lot of people could probably sing Luther Vandross. When they hear Luther on the radio, they'll be like, yo, where's the mom at? You know what I'm saying? Tell the kids you were born during this period of time. You see what I'm saying?
Oh man, even the wackest lyrics back then would fit some of the slang.
You get my drift now. It was,
Oh my God, Luther
You know
Vandross,
what I'm
a chair is still a chair unless there's someone sitting there. Wow.
Exactly. There's a reason. A home is not on a home. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. These
So
things have messages in them.
That's right. Just like candy. That's right.
Just like candy. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Just like candy. Remind me like New Edition when they're saying Candy Girl and all that kind of fancy stuff. How the movements and how they actually try to emulate or simulate. It was crazy because they had messages in them. Now I got 99 problems, but itching one. You know what I'm saying? Jay-Z, that's how they roll these days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. One of the things I used to enjoy is when in college I had music theory, and in that class the person was the instructor, professor, really loved jazz music, and I was starting to grow into really adoring jazz music, old classic jazz music. And some of the talks and discussions we talked about is the music back then, and some of the ones that were used in actual like a mirror reflection of the times. I mean, we were talking about Nina Simone. We talked about Strange Fruit, some of the discussions and all that stuff. And still to this day, you can memorialize what was talked about in your mind based on the depth of that song and the lyrics. And even in our frame, there's some songs that were so deep, that were so meaningful.
Yeah.
Like much earlier, I said to my son, I said, there's a few songs that no matter where I'm at, it will hit me, and I can't help but be emotional based on the song.
Yeah.
Right? Like if I ever hear Boys to Men and Mariah Carey, One Sweet Day, I'm done. I'm done. I'm done for the
Like I
moment.
said, some of that music, could actually take you back. It will transcend your mind and your memory back to what you were actually doing back then.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Because I remember, remember this song is called Return of the Mac? I
Yeah.
remember when I very first heard that song, I had just got off a plane from Vegas,
Uh-huh.
landed in Philadelphia International Airport, put on my, headphones and the whole 9 yards, turned it on, and the first song that I heard was Return of the Mac. You know what I'm saying? So I remember you straight off the back.
That's what's crazy. My son is stumbling on to 80s music type stuff like that, and he says that's one of his favorite songs. I kept telling him, I said that's one of those songs that back then I heard it so much that I was quickly to turn the knob. I was like, I don't want to hear that shit again. Return of the Mac. Oh my
You know
God.
what I'm saying?
But I guess it's the same time as Caribbean Queen. Remember from Billy Ocean? Caribbean
Queen. Yeah,
oh my God.
Billy Ocean is a Trinidadian. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, he's from Trinidad.
He's iconic.
He's a Trinidadian that actually moved to Great Britain.
Okay. All right, bad move, but that's good.
A lot of them do that. We're in Canada, we're in Britain, we're in Brooklyn.
Yeah,
you can count on that. Those are the three places.
Hell yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, Billy Ocean. Yeah, and the other guy, he was a very popular. He does a lot of voiceovers back in the day. With sprites and some of these things. He was also a he had like a really weird laugh. He was also, from Trinidad also. He passed away a few years ago.
You talking about the actor?
Yeah, he was an actor, but he has, I can't remember. It'll come back to me later, but he had like a really weird voice, man.
Okay, I think I know what you're talking about because he played in Boomerang. Was he an actor?
Yeah, I think that's the person. Yeah.
He was
like a really weird type voice. Yeah.
Marvelous. Yeah.
That's him. That's him. That's the dude. Yeah, exactly.
Iconic.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very iconic. Yeah.
Yep. But hey, man, I guess like Trenton says, when Jersey makes, the world takes.
Yeah.
And I guess you could say the same thing about Trini, right? What Trini makes, the world takes.
Yeah, I mean, we've produced a lot. There's no doubt. You know what I'm saying? Talents and skills.
Yeah, man. It is what it is, and we appreciate it. So it's all good.
Yeah, it's all good, man. And I also talked to someone yesterday, and they're like, Adrian, I thought you was from Africa. You know what I'm saying? I don't like my great ancestors was from Africa. No doubt about that.
No comment. Right. No comment. Just let them be, right? Really?
You know what I'm saying? My family's very versatile, folks.
Yeah. But you know what's funny though? Someone can say that in their honesty. It's a humble ignorance. You know what I'm saying? And it's just it's not intended to be any kind of belittling or nothing like that.
In this day and age, if you really know your family tree and the history of your family, the only thing you can do is just laugh at it because we're all made up of something from somewhere.
Exactly.
We're not all 100% pure. Trust and believe that.
Basically, you just go like
some people are like, I'm Cherokee Indian. My mom's been Cherokee, but you don't know if a Blackfoot got up inside of there somewhere or another. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Or West Indian, or you don't know. Exactly. So we're not always 100% what we say we are.
Exactly. Plus, I like to believe that it really depends on how far a person's willing to accept. You know what I'm saying? Because
correct.
We have a story that starts from point A and all the way down to Z. But if we're only aware of up to F, we're going to say we're from F.
Exactly.
You have a lot of people nowadays in this local area. Yo, I'm from Atlantic County. All right, where else you from? Atlantic County, New Jersey. That's it. They can't get much further than that. Not knowing where their origins are from.
Exactly. And that's the thing why history should be very important because it teaches you a lot. And then now in these days and time, we kind of find out that a lot was left out of the history books. Mm-hmm. And that's something else also.
Yep. So I'm a firm believer that the more we know about history, the more we'll see how similar we are as a world,
right,
and similarities and stuff like that. And in doing so, it gives us an opportunity to honor one another more. So we have more significance with one another. So inclusion is something that's important. That's one thing I know I'm proud of teaching my son, that, no one nation is better than the other, but make sure you get your shine. Everyone is
Yeah,
respective of the shine. There's a lot of great people that come from out the world. So just acknowledging the greatness, I love it. I love it, man.
yeah, and so do I. The diversity of it all is like really astonishing.
Yep, yep. Let me hit a curveball on this one because we're talking about international stuff.
Go.
Um, are you prepared? Have you seen lately the discussion around Sha'Carri Richardson?
Yes, I've seen it here and there.
Did you see the discussion, the national bitterness that's going place about this young lady and her response to Allison Felix? That really disappointed me.
Yeah, Allison Felix, just like my girl on the wall right there, she's another, athlete also, Sonia Richards, you know, very good athlete, I met her when I worked at the Plaza, very nice person. These
Right.
people work hard, man. You
Yes,
know what I'm saying? For what they have. It's not easy training to be an Olympic athlete and winning against other countries. It's very freaking hard. So
yes.
you have to give people their shine. You have to give people their prompts before their heartbeat drops.
Mhm.
Allison Felix is phenomenal. This woman was pregnant and then came back and entered the relay and end up qualifying and winning freaking medals here and there in the Olympics.
Uh-huh.
Give her credit. There's no doubt about it.
Yep.
She and this other young lady, both of them were moms. And they both had their kids out on the field and they're like, look what mom has just done.
Yep.
Give them the prompts, man. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Don't hate. Don't hate. Because
It's
hate ain't great.
right.
It's
It's
not great.
amazing. It's amazing, and I don't want to say that we're excluded to this whole concept because usually the world we all have our opinions about stuff, and sometimes that's where the vitriol comes in. That's where the bitterness comes in. But something that I heard in that discussion, Allison Felix were basically supporting Sha'Carri Richardson and said, you know, she's a wonderful athlete, and I'm only trying to paraphrase it. She's saying she's a world class athlete, and whatever she's going through, let's keep pushing and supporting her all the way around.
Correct.
And we hope to have her around for decades, which is basically the same thing that Sha'Carri was saying before. But her response seemed like she was not accepting of the statement that she was saying on her behalf, and she had a little shade in the background. So I don't know. I think there's a lot going on behind the scenes, but it also goes to show you that Allison Felix is older, is
Yes, she is.
much older than Sha'Carri Richardson, and
Yeah.
age sometimes can reflect your maturity comes out in your age, or vice
Correct.
versa. You can see the maturity and then her PR value and her being polished. Somebody identified that. Matter of fact, I think if I'm not mistaken, he's the NBC affiliate from Jamaica who talks about track and field, and he's really admired and appreciated by all track and field.
Oh, you talking about what was it? I can't remember. He was on there. He the announcer.
Yeah,
You
he's a brother. He's a brother.
He's a brother. He's the announcer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
announcer.
his name is Otto Bola. Otto Bola, is that the one you're talking about? Otto?
I could, yeah, Otto. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yep,
Otto.
yeah.
He's from Trinidad, my friend.
Okay, cool. See,
He's an Olympiad. He's an Olympiad from Trinidad. Yes.
okay, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, but I
We
just
have a
know.
stadium down in Trinidad that's named after him.
Okay, I made the assumption because he spent a lot of time talking with and conversing with the Jamaican team. Like
Hmm.
he was there in Jamaica at their track and field race and all that stuff. So, I mean, it can just be the assignment. But he spoke, and what he said was basically, um, whatever kind of hardship that she's going through, it doesn't diminish the fact that her as an athlete has to go through a lot of sacrifices to become an athlete. And these are the things that a lot of people don't pay attention to. You think that people are making lots of money in their field, and it isn't true. I mean,
Hmm.
you have some people who are cool and they get co-signed and endorsements or what have you. You see night commercials and they do this, and they're professionals. They're able to sign on. They're no longer amateurs and they're professionals and they're able to make a little money. However, not you don't see track and field being supported like basketball or football, so they don't see the same type of dollars. So people sacrifice, and these are not just one race a year. We're talking about maybe 20, 25 races all over the world, And these young ladies and men go all over the world to compete to be the best that they are. And that competition requires a lot of money, a lot of effort, a lot of sacrifice. And somebody at 20 years old may not be right, may not be fit, mentally fit, to be able to sacrifice that much, to do that much, to get to that level and stay at that level, like, say, in Allison Felix, where, like you said it before, an amazing athlete, but she wanted to have a life and had a child. She's married and had a child. Nike didn't see a mom to be a good example of track and field, and so they dropped his endorsement. She created her own line, had her child, came back. Now's got a huge. She doesn't have to. Her and her family don't have to worry about money anymore because the what she created supports her.
Yeah.
And not only that, she came back and got. I think it's called Athleta. I think it's called Athleta. Her brand. But not only that, she just came back and not only won, she won in an authoritative way. She whooped that ass in more than one race. She was like, it was beautiful. It was a righteous victory for her. And all women have gone through that type of hardship of being told you can't do it.
Yeah,
that she can. It was great.
Exactly. You know, and that's the thing, because a lot of us are held back by people saying that we can't. You can't. No, it's not what you can't, it's what I can. Right. So it all boils down to how well you believe in yourself in order to accomplish and achieve your goals.
Yep.
That's what it really boils down to. These people work very hard. You know, everybody like brag at Michael Jordan and the whole 9 yards. But when Mike first went to Chicago for the Chicago Bulls, they sent a little Hispanic guy to pick him up in this little car. You know, and it was like amazing. He never got the reception that he gets today. Mm-hmm. You know, and ironically enough, down the road when Mike became famous, that same little Hispanic guy ended up being his personal chauffeur, and from then on, it's a wrap. Mm-hmm. You know, so like I said, you know, a lot of people work their way up the ladder, but Sha'Carri Richardson, you know, she's young. She still has a long way to go.
Yes, she does, and I hope that she continues.
Let's leave it at that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hope that she does. Just stick to it, because I was hoping to see her in the additional races. When she went on to the Fontaine, ended up last. You can see right before in the race, you saw when she gave up, or she didn't want to look like she gave up, but you can tell she slowed down. She was going to finish the race, but she slowed down.
But she was dealing with the best. You know, that's what happened. It's creme de la creme, the very best. You know what I'm saying? So when you deal it, in order to be the best, you have to beat the best. So
and if you're not ready, you can get beat authoritatively.
Come on, Mo. You're looking at two of the young ladies on both sides of her was from Jamaica. I didn't need I say anymore. They were from Jamaica. So that wraps it up by itself. They practice like hell over there.
Them sisters are no joke. I was sitting there looking at stuff. Like I said, track and field are one of the Olympic sports that I enjoy every year. And I applaud track and field artists. And it's amazing because these are some amazing athletes, man. Them sisters from Jamaica are no joke. They're really dedicated, and they're some of the fastest human beings on the planet.
That's the thing about it. These kids, they're molded from, and I know because I grew up on the island on Trinidad, and I grew up, you know, what they call UWI. UWI is the University of the West Indies. It was the only university in the West Indies when I was growing up. Right. It was in Trinidad. And that was about less than a mile away from my house where I lived. So we had a lot of events, and that's where I learned to play soccer, you know, at the University of the West Indies. You know, we had track and field there, you know, like our school would go to the university, and that's where we would actually, you know, have the track and field events. Mm-hmm. You know, and that's what I mentioned to you. I won my first gold medal there at the age of like 7, 8 years old.
Oh, man, gold medalist.
You know what I'm saying? As a kid. You know, so, you know, and it's no surprise that when I came to the United States, all 4 years, I ended up with, you know, varsity letters, you know, straight through.
Right.
So we grew up on this stuff. So I know from personal experience what they go through. Mm-hmm. So when the kids up here, you know, back in the day, Mo, they're playing, you know, football, we were practicing soccer. So when we actually kick that crap out of them playing soccer, we've been doing it all of our lives.
I think of it this way. I was having a conversation with my wife. I said, you imagine all these nations and these countries may not be economically advantaged like we are in the United States. So you basically play with what you can. And then in instances of these different sports, it requires people to run consistently, constantly.
Right.
You playing soccer, you're running consistently. The only thing that doesn't require you to run as much is cricket. Maybe that's why it's so popular. But it's good. There's a lot of running. Rugby, there's a lot of running. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. But you can't. It's just one of those type of things.
But let me tell you how we did it back on the islands. I know my brothers and some of my people. We would take 2 rocks, one here and put a rock over there. That's the goalpost. Okay, and we have 1 ball, and we go down to the other side and we put 2 rocks, and that's the goalpost again. And that's how we get the game on. We just get a few guys and game on. That's it.
That was us. That when me growing up, that was us. When we wanted to play basketball, it was a milk crate. When we wanted to play soccer,
Milk crate. That's when I
was
grew up in the inlet. It was the milk crate.
right. If it was soccer, we had 2 cans, 2 beer cans or something.
2 cans. Yeah, 2 rocks. Yeah, exactly.
Baseball, it was a stick and a ball that we can find out, and wherever it was. So yeah, it really depends. The ingenuity of a child is endless. There's no bounds. Yeah. So when you're able to enjoy that stuff and it continues, and in a lot of nations, like I said, Jamaica is a wonderful example of what dedication is, and they've put a lot. Thanks to Usain Bolt, because I know he rebuilt a stadium. He put in a lot.
Yeah, very generous guy. Yeah,
he did a lot of resources for medical and physical treatments and stuff like that to help hone in on individuals that want to work and then train, and they have a better facility there. So, I give it to him. And it's one of the type of things you can't just sleep on it. But I really like the way Sha'Carri Richardson, she just, to me, is an example of those people in the inner city that are told you can't do this, you can't do that because you don't fit the picture, you don't fit the screen. And she's proven that she is. So hopefully, moving forward, we'll see more of her. And I want to see that challenge. I want to see her.
The thing about it, Mo, it says, for you to succeed, there's only 2 things you got to do. 1, believe in God. 2, believe in yourself. And your dreams will come true. That's all it really boils down to.
I mean, that's basically the truth.
There's no doubt. I've lived it. I've lived it. That's what it's all about.
Right. Point blank, you can't question that. You know what I'm saying? It's believe in yourself and believe in God.
Yeah. That's it. Everything else, is irrelevant.
Yeah, man. I really love to see. I want to see this challenge. Like finally, when you saw Elaine Thompson-Herah being the fastest woman now, and then Shelly Ann Frazier, stuff. Those are the 2 women that Sha'Carri Richardson have to go against to prove herself. And at 20 years old, I think she has the ability and strength. Let's hope that she can develop her mind so she can do what she needs to do, because Shelly Ann Frazier is amazing at her age. She's 36, something like that, and she's still running against these young girls and reminding them like I'm
any different from FloJo back in the day.
Oh yeah, she was something. It was sad. It was sad how her career ended, but she was something. She was an amazing example of women, beautiful women running around the world. Yeah. And then my girl Jasmine Camacho Quinn, representing Puerto Rico, winning in the hurdles. I was like, that was an amazing thing. That was amazing and
putting PR on the map. That's it.
It was polarizing too, because people wanted to say, "Oh, well, she don't speak Spanish," and this. I was like, "Man, go ahead with your frauds." Puerto Rico's native language is not Spanish.
People always gonna hate, man. Don't matter. You know what I'm saying? And I don't say don't hate, congratulate. That's what it's about.
I sit there, like I said, I watch sometimes, and I like to see the up and coming ones. Like you see individuals run that you've seen them over in time. Like I see a sister from another island, Talu, and she's no joke. She's an amazing runner and all that stuff, but she always comes up like 3rd, 4th, sometimes maybe at the 3rd. So when she wins, I'm happy for her because it shows that
she Philippines.
No, Talu, I think she's from the Antilles.
Oh, the Lesser Antilles.
She's probably from the Antilles. Talu is from the Caribbean.
Okay.
She's on this side of the planet in the Caribbean.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a big Caribbean.
I got to mix it with someone else then, no doubt.
Yeah. So, but let me see if I can find out, because I want to make certain. But I just saw her in the last race where you saw Hera won and almost won the. I think she beat the world record. Let me see if I can get to Tyler. What's she at? She's in the top 50 runners of the world, female. She's from what's CIV? What's that? CIV. She had all kinds of medals. I don't know where CIV stands for. But her flag is it's orange, white, and green. Her name is Marie Jose Talou. Anyway, I'm looking at the field right now. I'm trying to see. I'm looking at the top runners and what have you. But it was just good to see that because, matter of fact, this year I saw Trinidad and Tobago had somebody win a medal in one of the races also. So they got a strong team too, man.
And so, and the thing about it is because, like we've mentioned on previous shows, whereas a lot of the medals in different countries outside the United States end up being that country's medal, not that individual's medal. Big difference.
Heck yeah.
In the competition level also.
Uh-huh. I wasn't aware until I was watching, I want to say the brother's name from Ethiopia. He's one of the long distance runner.
Yeah.
Won the most marathon races in
Is it Ethiopia or Kenya? Because those Kenyans can run like crazy.
Yeah.
Because the elevation of where they live, mountainous.
Right. That arid atmosphere makes it hard.
They've won, the marathon in Boston, the Kenyans.
Yeah, but something tells me it's Ethiopian. I'm trying to remember his name. But the discussion was about the medals. And they talked about how in a lot of these countries, for them to be able to supply finances for their family, they have to bring back a medal, for them to have an income because their country will pay them if they come back like a reward, where they have to dedicate so much time for them to train, they're not able to work. So their family is left to work to help pay for their training and themselves. So this is an instance that whenever they get this medal, they're able to pay. In Russia, it used to be like that too. Russia, the country would pay for everything. And then their family would have to take care of them and themselves. And, that's the kind of contribution. When in the United States, if you win, all you got to do is pay the taxes on the value of the gold medal.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Uncle Sam is throwing his hand out as always.
Which is funny because I keep thinking, I said, you didn't, you guys never did it, but why are you trying to tax somebody on a national scale if they're representing the nation? Are you going to tax?
They should be tax exempt because they're representing the country. Yeah, you're right.
It should be equal to, like, say, when John Kerry goes abroad and he's talking peace with these nations all of a sudden, and he comes back with these big ass box because Prince Saud gave him a box of solid gold toilets, so on and so forth. Well, tax his ass for that gift too. But they don't get taxed for that stuff.
Because like I said, Uncle Sam is that silent partner that you don't like. That's the bottom line. And you love it when he's taking, but he doesn't like when he given because with this Afghanistan war, $750 million actually given to train these bad boys to fight this, the Taliban and the whole 9 yards. And $2 trillion in 20 years and about 3,000 people from the United States, countless number of people died. And look what we actually, they're like, oh, we got to wrap everything up. Show's over, folks. Everybody go home.
Did you see how the Taliban, the minute they took over, they went to the reserves looking for the $45 million or billion. It was $45 billion or was it 45? Could be 10. They had billions of dollars in the reserves that the country of Afghanistan had. So the Taliban, we went for it. Nope, pump the brakes. Is in the national reserves in New York City. And it was
exactly the World Bank, you know what I'm saying, International Monetary Fund, and that's one of the main reasons why, because that was a form of insurance to make sure people get out. And that's it right there, because Joe Biden says he's not going to release it until they comply with exactly what he wants. But now we have a lot of countries, such that has people inside it, like Great Britain and Germany. They have people in Afghanistan that they need to get out. So they say even after the 31st of August, they're like, we still have people in there. We have to get our people out of there also. So they're like, we're going to continue to keep airlifting, people out of there to Germany, to Great Britain, to other countries. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Donald Trump made a deal with the Taliban with the United States, but not not for the other countries.
No, not at all. And
So
that's
when the Taliban goes looking for that money, they don't have it. They have a lot of the weaponry or whatever the case may be that was left behind, but eventually they're going to need parts. So they're going to have to try to figure out a way on how to manufacture some of those parts.
yeah, or sell some of these things. Yeah, it's crazy. But I all I kept thinking was that was a big strategic move. America in the background, he already knew. Biden already knew. Like, yo, they're broke. They're not going to have money, so they're going to have to shut it down soon, and they probably hanging it over their heads. And that's why Taliban's in front of the TV talking about we're the new Taliban. We're Taliban 2.0. We love our women. We love our women. We will allow them.
Improve Taliban.
Whatever.
Taliban of the olden days, the brutal regime.
Yep, we're a cool hip Taliban. We watch MTV. Yes.
Oh yeah, here goes another one for you. Trevor Noah placed an ad. I don't know if you saw that. Placed a full page ad in two New York newspaper, pretending that he was the head of a law firm that would actually defend all of the insurrectionists. Trevor Noah did this. So yeah, exactly. So he's pranking a lot of the insurrectionists to come forward. We'll protect you. And he has. It's funny as hell. I saw it this morning.
Man, I gotta see this.
I want to send it to you, man, because Trevor Noah is a trip. I'm serious.
He's having a hell of a good time here in America.
Yes, he is. And he has all of his people stand up like a law office with their arms crossed and suits and the whole 9 yards, saying, if you're an insurrectionist that you took part in January 6th, give us a call, and he put up a fake number up there for them to call. That man is something else. I'm serious.
It reminds me of not John Daly.
John Stewart.
Who?
John Stewart.
No, not him. Well, he used to do stuff like that. The guy who has the show on HBO now. Today's, I forget his name.
Bill Maher?
He's British. He's a British.
Oh, you talking about I know John, I can't remember his last name.
I want to say
exactly talking about, yeah.
But he does shit like that all the time. He gets sued, he gets attacked, he puts in these major claims, he puts out ads.
Yeah.
He does all the stuff to really, mess with people. And I'm like, yo, I love how he does that stuff.
Yeah, he messes. he screws with people a lot. So I know exactly what you're talking about.
He's funny. He said he wanted to bother. I remember one time he says he wanted to bother Trump so much that he put in a bid to buy the property right next to Mar-a-Lago. He was there in person talking to the property owner, trying to buy it on camera. So I'm gonna be his neighbor. I was like, damn.
Yeah.
So that's a good one. But I love that kind of stuff, man. But
yeah, Trevor Noah did that just yesterday.
Oh my God, that's gonna be.
So a lot of the insurrectionists, when they look in New York, and they're like, "Yo, look at this huge article on the front page." He did that. He took out into New York City newspaper.
But you know what? That just goes about what I was talking about earlier. Earlier, I said the FBI isn't doing a good job like Americans are, just on the internet and the vigilantes using the resources to find and catch all these individuals.
Yeah,
that's gonna be another one. Yo, he's gonna be able to have a list of all these individuals and hand it over to the FBI. Here you go. I did your work.
You know the thing about it, because a lot of the insurrectionists, they should start putting a number on their heads. You catch one of these guys, you let us know who it is. Prosecution, $5,000 straight off.
A bounty.
Yeah, put a bounty on their head. There's no doubt. You see a lot of people turning over family members.
In a minute.
Let me turn over family members. It's not going to be the same Thanksgiving without Uncle Johnny this year, because I just turned him in for $5,000. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, if we did that, this is the funny shit, man. And I'm only joking, but I just laugh about that stuff. I can see that with my family. I said they started cutting the bounties. We flip on each other in a minute, be like, yo, man, I got love for you, bro, but my rent needs to get paid. So I'm calling up, yo, he's so-and-so is here, right here. You said cash back.
Hey, Mo. Hey, I understand you're my brother in the whole 9 yards, but when he took my G.I. Joe when I was a kid, I didn't like that at all. So I'm going to actually turn your ass in for $5,000 right about now.
Oh, yeah. Remember that G.I. Joe? Uh-huh.
Yeah, when it comes full grip. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's just hilarious, man. But I love that. I wish they did. If I'm not mistaken, I think it's constitutionally illegal to set up bounties like that. I think there's something about that.
Maybe for the government, but somebody else with a private entity could actually do that.
That's exactly the case.
That's a big difference. But the
Yeah.
government does it anyway, because when you skip out and you decide, say you jump bail, what's the first thing they do?
Mm-hmm. Bounty hunters.
Exactly.
I think it's just
the U.S. Marshal got a job to do. What do you think they go after?
Yeah, I think it's that though. I think it's as a political entity. People who are legislators, you can't legislate that into happen. However, there's opportunities through bounty hunters and other shit to be able to get like that, or that's.
So you'd be able to turn in the chief of police of your local. He was up there too. There goes the picture that he was posing.
Get him.
The local chief of police, the fire department. They got a lot of them boys, man. I'm serious.
There was elected officials in there.
Yeah,
a couple guys. There was a couple guys in if I'm not mistaken, Mississippi, like a commissioner. There may have been a governor. A matter of fact, one of the highest ranking people was a person.
The lieutenant governor. It was the lieutenant governor that they actually called that was up in there too.
I was like, get them goobers, man. Why not? Shit. They want to sit up there and be bold enough about it. Get it. Then hold up. I want to sit there and laugh because just recently they highlighted one guy who was like really bragging. He was on video. He was doing something. Matter of fact, it was at a school board rally. And locally, and I can't remember if it was MSNBC or something like that, rocking his Americana shirt with the flag and the stripe in between to show solidarity with police. And he's mouthing off. He's like, that's right. I was there in Washington, D.C. I even got into this room and that room. And you're not going to do nothing. And you're not going to do nothing here. That's why in school boards this way, you can't mandate. And this is about masks.
Wow.
This is America is free and you can't keep binding our children to do so. It is not right. We're going to fight for the right to keep this just like we did in D.C. That's what the whole discussion was about. Then within 24 hours, they identified him there, saw the picture of him in an insurrection, and there was a federal officer at his front door knocking on his door, and they had all that shit on video. I was like, you got to be careful what you talk about.
Exactly. Wrap it up. they come right for you and they wrap it up. That's the bottom line.
Stupid. And they caught his ass. Even the video. They again, these vigilantes with this video capability saw the video, saw that he punched an officer in the face, saw him go into there, and he identified what it was. So, they have video record proof of it. And then he have his claim to suggest that he's doing it too, even though it can't be held against you unless you have proof. But the video proof is it. Done.
He said, "Picture's worth 1,000 words." Imagine a video. That's a picture. Imagine a moving video.
Hell yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, with 1,000 words, he's going to be thinking the opposite. It's 1,000 chances you should have shut the hell up.
Yeah, and that's it. Because it's like you remember Flip Wilson back in the day?
Yeah.
His quote, "Loose lips sink ships." Exactly. Loose lips sink ships. And that's what happened to that guy.
Yep. One of the statements I always hear in politics that says, a fish that doesn't open his mouth doesn't get caught. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But that's definitely something that I'm laughing about. But it's like we talked about before. So people are more active in cybersecurity, checking that out in a minute. You can say something, and this is the craziest stuff. If you have someone that trespasses against you, breaks in your home, steals something of you, does something wrong, calls you out your name, whatever. If you got a video snippet of that individual and then put it on social media, guess what this person did? He's wrong, so on and so forth. Can you guys help me find him? Within 24 hours a day, somebody will have the entire bio ready about this individual in the whole nine, because everyone loves to be involved like they're a police officer, like the investigator. And some people are really good.
Now, 5G. I'm telling you, everything is moving like at the speed of light.
Oh, yeah. Some people are really, really, really good at it. I remember stumbling onto a movie on Netflix. I'm going to get the exact title, which threw me off. And it was a movie about just that. And it had something to do with cats. Let me see if I can remember the title. It's called Don't Fuck with Cats, Hunting an Internet Killer. That's what it's called. It's an official movie off of Netflix. If you want to catch something, you want to check it out. It's a bugged out documentary about this instance. This guy was a murderer, right? A killer. And what he did is he, in his killing, videotaped himself to a certain extent and all that stuff. And he made the mistake of doing something not to the person, but I think he killed a cat, or in the video, he did something horribly wrong to a cat. Like the cat was kicked off of a ledge, and the ledge or the porch was like 8 stories high.
Mm-hmm.
These people who love cats saw that, found the building based off of that, where it was, the telemetry, that they knew the time frame he did it, because they saw a clock a mile away.
Mm-hmm.
In that same video, they found the location of the building, because across the street was a gas station, and you saw up the street was a McDonald's. This was in Canada. Found what floor, because they did some sort of evaluation between the building next door and his, where he was, the whole nine. Located him, found him not only in there, which was Vancouver, Canada, found in Miami, because he was I guess I don't know what you call him, but he's a male prostitute, and he would travel around. So he went to Vancouver, but they caught him in Miami. They got his whole bio and the whole nine based on that, and people were hunting. And he was pretty intelligent, because he would tease people on the internet. You can't catch me. You can't catch me. You can't catch me. The more he did that, the more people got really involved in trying to hunt him down. And they showed these 3 or 4 people who were brilliant in investigation and told you how they did that shit. And I was like, yo, people are just stupid to make mistakes and want to videotape shit, because they'll find you.
With computers these days, with the internet, the speed of the internet, the whole 9 yards, with cell phones, it's very hard to commit the perfect crime. Bottom line. There's no such thing anymore as the perfect crime.
Not at all. Not at all. Even speaking with the perfect crime, there was something else I was looking at not long ago, where people were doing identity fraud by using, you know how they mask now? They have these 3D built masks of people's faces, and they use gum and plastic and rubber to create these images, and it looks just like other people. They said to avoid facial recognition, people were doing this in creating these like robbing banks or what have you. They'll go in there and facial recognition couldn't do it. They said nowadays the technology they have with infrared, it goes beyond the mask and tell you the telemetry makeup of a person's skull as they're scanning you. Calcium deposits, teeth. People have work on their teeth and have silver or metal. The breakings of that, they'll identify.
Eyes, because remember, your eyes automatically, they focus on your eyes exactly.
Yep, retina scans. Yep, all those things. But it just shows when it comes to, no matter how brilliant you think that you are about trying to commit a crime, there's someone equally brilliant, if not more, creating a reason how to get you, how to trap you. It's amazing. That's why I'm like, yo, I'm plain as hell. I don't want to break any crime. Sorry. Nope.
But Mo, let me ask you a question, because many years ago, there's this one guy who in Atlantic City area, he used to steal nothing but luxury cars. And what happened is he taught his nephew or his son how to actually steal high, because the wiring and the diagram for a lot of cars are totally different.
Right.
Especially on the luxury cars. But this guy would only steal nothing but luxury cars. And then pass it over to chop shops. And it took another cop who actually knew that caught the guy's father many years ago, to actually figure out exactly how he was doing it. And that's how they caught him.
Wow.
And this was Atlantic City area. He was doing it right down here. Yeah. The guy was pretty damn good, because the wiring's on, like the Jags and the Lexus, and the Porsche. These things are totally different. The wiring diagrams are all different. So there's not one, blueprint for everything straight across the board.
Oh, okay. I never heard of that.
Yeah.
As far as crime and things I guess are famous crimes, I remember just the drug syndicates, because that was so in your face. But when it comes to like auto thefts and stuff like that, I never heard that.
And then even after a while, when they were doing a lot of carjackings in Newark, New Jersey, the cops were setting these guys up with those. It's called bait car. They will take a car and they'll park it in the neighborhood, a fancy car. Somebody will jump inside the car. They'll go for a nice little cruise, and they just hit a switch, and the car cuts off automatically. Lock the doors. Now you got the crook inside of there, panicking like hell. And that's how they actually shut down a lot of bait. They use bait cars.
Yeah, and Atlantic City, I would imagine, is a hell of a target, because so much valet parking, so many different opportunities for valet parkers to go into a car and be out, because people aren't paying attention. You're not You go into a vehicle, you go into a porte cochere, and you're standing going into a busy intersection. You're not looking to see who is an employee or not. Somebody who's dressed just like an employee can walk up. You're assuming as a valet, and they have all the stuff to look like valet because they don't know each other and they're always constantly running. The car jockeys are running back and forth to try to get it. You can come in and take it and be out. And by the time they recognize that you're out, even though somebody got you on camera, you got the vehicle. And so many opportunities to be out. I mean, because they got cameras galore.
Yeah, they got cameras, no doubt.
Yeah.
And like I said, you're talking to a guy who used to be a car jockey as a kid growing up.
Mm-hmm.
So, I know when we park some of those cars and we leave them out front, what's the deal?
Yep.
Because sometimes they'll take the keys and put it up, in certain different places. But at the same time, certain, cars back in the day, they used to have this thing, it's called a kill switch.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing about a kill switch is you cannot start that car until you find out exactly where the kill switch is.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen kill switches in some of the weirdest freaking areas.
Mm-hmm.
This one guy hopped inside of his car getting ready to park it. The kill switch was built in within the seat belt. So I jumped inside the car as as valet, and the car wouldn't start. I'm like, this battery is dead. And it says, no, put your seatbelt on. And as soon as you click the seatbelt, the car would start.
Yep.
So some of them under the dashboard, some of them on the side, some of them in the seatbelt. They were all over the place. Some of them inside the glove compartment. We looked for all of those different kill switches.
I know exactly what you're talking about because I know somebody who had a BMW, guy I went to school with, and he put his kill switch, and it looks like the button, the lock, the door lock. You know how the door lock goes up and down? Mm-hmm. It was an actuator, and he would push it on, and if it was up, the kill switch was done. It wasn't connected. You're not going on. It's like because it's so simple. Just like the seatbelt. It's so simple you wouldn't think about it.
Exactly, you would not think about it.
You wouldn't think about
because
it.
Some of them you have to go inside the glove compartment because working valet, they taught me exactly how to find these kill switches. So I know exactly where to go looking and searching for these kill switches all over the car before, and normally I'll find them.
Yep. It's just the external ones. People really want to make it difficult.
But even though, let's look at the carjacking. You said that you trying to, a 2018 Nissan or Toyota, one of those things. Okay, it has the key fob to it. It doesn't have the key because the automatic start. You press the button now. So if somebody jacks your car, you get up out of the car is still running. As soon as they put it in drive, it's done. It kills the car automatically because you move away from the car with the key fob. Is what they call the key fob.
Right. Well, you know what the problem with the key fob that I've seen just recently, the discussion is that same type of technology where people come on and steal your information off of the internet, off your cards. It's the same. The RFID, right? It's the same type of reader on the key fobs. It's electronic because it's supposed to be ever changing and encrypting. Mm-hmm. But they'll hit you, they'll go by and get you, and that starts that whole discussion. Like they'll use that and they put in some device where they input that information and it starts, and it's supposed to mimic that same exchange that a key fob in a car would be. And that works a lot for simple as alarm systems. So I don't know, but they say that's a potential danger. I watch a website for cars all the time, and one guy talks about safety and security when it comes to new vehicles. I'm thinking, I said, the way shits are going and the way there's so many different shipping containers all over the place, who knows what kind of cars are in there?
Yeah, but what have these guys been stealing recently is catalytic converters. Yeah. Catalytic converters out of cars now, it seems to be a big money player.
Yeah.
Especially during the pandemic, because they sent it to junkyards based on the metal and the alloy that it's made up from.
Iridium and cadmium in them.
Yeah, because my cousin, in Maryland, she went outside one day and started the car, and they stole a catalytic converter.
Yep.
Obviously, you be a heated mofo, man. I'm telling you.
Hell yeah! I remember having a Mitsubishi Tradia, and that one, it was a high performance vehicle. Engine and everything, masking this, little commuter vehicle. It was a mistake for them to try to do it because it was more powerful than the vehicle was ready to do so. So it needed catalytic converters more often. That's why I learned about the catalytic converter and some of the actual precious metals being used in that stuff.
Yeah,
I was like, and it made sense how you said, because I know some of the vehicles now, the high intensity, high precision vehicles need that type of catalytic converter.
Right, exactly.
Those are the ones to have it. And because the catalytic converter is exposed, most of the time all you got to do is look underneath the muffler, behind the muffler, maybe a foot or two, boom, you got the cat. One or two cats, and you got the right big one. You got two cats, two big ones, and that's a lot of metal in there.
You know, but on top of that, a lot of people are also stealing from like the Honda Civics and some of those Hondas, the airbags.
Yeah,
A lot of them were actually stealing the airbags out of cars like crazy.
yeah. It's parts, man. Parts.
Yeah,
You can steal parts. It was back in the day was the hood ornament on Mercedes Benz and Cadillacs.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All over the place.
So stealing that, especially if you have like a nice Rolls Royce with that bad boy on top of there. Yep. That looks pretty good blinking on somebody's neck.
Yep. Then in the 80s when the LCD cameras came about, when you put the TV monitors in your headrest was starting to be stolen.
Yeah.
I've seen compartments, that secret compartments for people to put guns and things on. They would start being sold, being stolen. Nowadays, they put people having small lock boxes inside the vehicles and stuff. They're taking the seat and the whole lock box with you. I'm like, because people figure in a lock box you're either gonna have money, keys, or a gun. So that's a big payoff. There's a lot of shit. And then at one time I remember, I had a Honda Accord, right? I had a 1992 Honda Accord, and at that time it was in that window of the most popular stolen vehicles. They were. My Honda Accord wasn't souped up, nothing. I had hubcaps, and it was my ride. It was the
basic ride.
But it was nothing souped up like you would see nowadays. But I remember when seeing the report, and they said that one, a Ford Taurus show, was like the top ones. I was like, damn, I don't want nobody stealing my car. And what back then, the one device that everyone seemed to always believe was that damn rod that you would tie onto the steering wheel. Remember that big rod with the lock?
Mm-hmm.
You swore it was a deterrent. It was no damn deterrent to a real thief, but everyone had it.
Yeah, because what these guys were actually doing was cutting the steering wheel. Yep. And once you cut the steering wheel, it's a wrap. You can slide it right over there.
That's it. It was hilarious, man. But you couldn't tell me nothing. I had that. I had the one that connected the
steering wheel to the brake.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one I have in my ride. Yeah.
Yeah. You have that one now?
Yeah, I have that now. It's in my trunk. It came in handy when I was in Brooklyn. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. It's a deterrent just enough. Yep. When you think you're about to get out, oh snap. Yep. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, man.
You know, you got to roll somehow. You know, you have to put the lugs. You know, the lug nuts on. You know, because a lot of people put the wheel locks. You know, those lugs, and they put the lock on the wheels. But then they came along with a particular hydraulic tool that could slip over it, and it could actually turn the whole damn thing, and it could take it right off of there.
I remember having it was a blue Chevy. What was the name of that Chevy? It wasn't a Cavalier. I didn't have it long, but I had lug nuts, and one was a wheel lock. I remember going, it wasn't even that far, man. I think it may have been like Sicklerville. And I went into the parking lot, came back out, and I started to notice my vehicle looked a little different. I was like, what the hell is that? I couldn't tell what it was. They stole the wheel lugs, except for the lug nut, the actual lock. They left the lock there, but they took the lugs. I said, oh, snap. They really screwed me.
They said we'll teach you a lesson.
They slapped me with nothing. I said, oh, snap. And all I kept thinking was like, what the hell am I going to do? Because when you buy them, you buy 400 cents. I was like, what kind of shit is this? It was crazy, man. But yeah.
See, my car was, I'll tell you, my car had that type of stuff on there. And I was in Franklinville. And with my car, if you lean on it, it would actually set off a pager, a silent alarm on my belt. So I was in a skating ring and my pager went off. That meant somebody just leaned on my car. And if you try to open the door, and if the door becomes open, then it set off a siren that you could actually hear 4 blocks away.
Sound like you had a Viper.
Was that?
Sound like you had the Viper.
It wasn't a Viper, but the way how I actually, rigged everything together, being in automotive and stuff, it worked perfectly.
I heard that.
Yeah, so these guys like, oh, we only lean on your car. I says, yeah, because if you would have opened the door, you would have found out exactly what was going to happen next.
I had the broke ass version. I'd yell out the window, "Get off my car!" That was it. That was my broke ass version. Get off my car.
That's it. The human voice alert.
That was it. That's the only thing I had. And if they were gonna steal my car because it was the way it is, yo, maybe you wanted it that bad. Go ahead, try to take it. Go
Yeah,
ahead, try it.
mine had a lot of stuff on it, so it was
Yeah, of
pretty
course,
pricey to me.
of course. It was your vehicle, it's your personal chariot. So,
Yeah, rims and all, man. I'm telling you, custom rims from Beacon Automotive,
oh,
custom.
watch out! You balling Beacon. Watch out!
Yeah,
Hold
you
on.
know Beacon back in the day when they were famous for all of that stuff. Yeah, the custom, I custom ordered all the rims. Then I had the star that goes over the rims. It was all chromed out, the whole 9 yards, man. I'm telling you.
I always wanted rims for my truck and my cars. Always. Never got a chance to actually buy rims. And then I had a truck that had its own rims, 20-inch rims and the whole nine. I was like, damn, finally I got 20s. Finally I got chrome. It wasn't like the kind that I really wanted because the Azagattis and all that stuff. I was like, yo, rolling spinners, love them stuff.
Yeah, the spinners was bad, man. I'm telling you.
But
You
spending
know, yeah.
$5,000 a
You
rim,
look at some of those rims back in the day. I was in Brooklyn, and this one guy had an old fashioned, I believe it was Mercedes Benz, and the freaking guy had white walls on there. I can't tell you the last time I saw white walls on a car.
okay,
White walls, the thick ones, not the little stripe. They had the thick. I'm like, look at dude,
the 1940 joints, yep.
man. I'm telling you.
I think the most desired rim that I always wanted was the Saab. The Saab 3 looked like a peace sign.
The Saab, I remember the Saab.
Saab was known for, they're the only ones that had that 3-spoke peace sign. Loved them. I was like, yo, those are fly. Those and Mercedes Benz would have these rims that were only known that Mercedes Benz have, and I can't remember the name of them, but they were chromed out. They were so pretty. I was like, yo, I can put them in my car, and I'll keep them. My mom and my dad, my stepdad used to joke. He said, your damn rims will cost 10 times more than the car. I said, yeah, if I ever could.
Yeah.
But them suckers were nice at one day.
Well, that's the thing about it, because when you get into an accident, such as what happened to my car, the insurance company tried to pay me like book value. I'm like, no, this was custom, Claire. This was custom, so you have to go up on the price. There's no doubt about it, and I forced them to do so because it was a custom-made vehicle.
Mm-hmm. I bet. Shit, I tell you that, man. But it's a pleasure to be able to customize your own vehicle and be.
Oh yeah.
And some of the stuff I don't see it as much as I think it was innovative back in the day. This stuff now is you're starting to see redundant stuff. There's no new stuff. I always said if I can redo something, I want a H1. I want a Hummer H1 with the Dynamax engine, to make it drivable day by day type stuff. I want to integrate it inside with the seating change, the cabin change, radio systems. I want winch. I want a lift kit. I want a 14-inch lift kit to make that the serious monster. Put 36-inch wheels on it and be that monster. And I always said this is going to be the Delgado family rescue vehicle. I always said, because I don't know, when storms come about ever since right before Sandy, my son and I would get my son. Well, my wife would freak out when he'd come with me, but he'd always want to. I said, I got you. We'd get into the vehicle and go check on our loved ones.
Okay.
Before the storm or during the storm, even a snowstorm. I ain't scared of no damn snowstorm. I will find the shovels. I'll know exactly how to drive through them. I've driven through a whole bunch of shit.
Have you ever walked through a blizzard?
Yep.
What's the furthest? What's the furthest have you gotten?
I was driving. Let me tell you, I was driving through going to New Paltz, New York. Going through the thruway. You ever been through a thruway in New York? That thruway is just a blank road with nothing except for the hillsides going upstate New York. I went from the thruway to Newport, New York, and the visibility was barely a foot in front of my car, right? I was driving a Nissan Sentra, and at that time it was the newer version. I was in college, so this is a 93. No, 1990. Nissan Sentra, a red one, and it was my girlfriend's at the time, and I borrowed her car going to New Paltz to go see a friend at New Paltz University, CUNY, in New Paltz, New York. And the blizzard, no lie, you can see the snowflakes. They look like quarters. That's how big they were, and they were all over the place. You couldn't drive. It was so much so that I could not see. A tractor trailer was on the side of me. And when I cleared the window, I had to clear it with my hand because I couldn't see it. There was so much coming at that time. I saw the red lights and didn't realize that my vehicle was in between the front axle and the rear axle. We were underneath the vehicle.
Get the frig out.
We couldn't tell. It was me and my man King. We could not tell. We were basically underneath the vehicle. Yo, I was bugging and freaking. Yo, I always feel like I can drive. I can drive anything.
Wow.
Got good control in the whole nine. At that time, all I kept thinking was like, "Oh my God!" The minute I slip or done, we're getting run over. So I'm like trying to zigzag out of it, but it seemed like the truck was following around. But I think it was the path of the road. He was creating a path of his weight, so the vehicle had to go on. So it was like a point of time. It froze. It seemed like it was everywhere. We were underneath the trailer of the truck.
Wow.
And because the Nissan, what the hell's the name?
The Sentra?
The Sentra, right? You know, the Sentra is not a
Yeah.
big vehicle anyway.
Yeah, the small cars.
Yeah, and it had basic tires. It didn't have big rims or nothing like this.
Mhm.
And you know, and the snow, it was about 14 feet of snow when we went up in that joint. It was crazy, but that was the biggest snowstorm I've ever been in, and the weirdest situation I've ever put myself through. I made it. We made it to our destination. Made it back.
Wow.
When I got there, the young lady that we went to go see was like, "Y'all crazy? What the hell kind of?" I was like, "Yo, we wanted to come up and check out this place. We were told you were coming. We're coming. Mother Nature ain't stopping me." But trust me, I was like, God was on my side because I saw them lights. You know, in a tractor trailer, you have the lights in the under cabin from the first one, and then you have another set that you can basically see underneath. The ones I was looking at was underneath the trailer, and I'm like, "Oh snap,
That's
yo!"
a
When I'm
miracle.
looking, I'm seeing. I said, "Are we under the trailer?" And I'm peeking, and my man King was like, "Yo, Mo, come on, let's get out, yo, man." Yo, we was freaking for a few minutes there, but we made it. We made it. But it was
Wow.
the deepest snow I think I've ever went through in a non-snow ready vehicle. A non-snow ready
Wow.
vehicle. Yeah, but that was
Yeah,
a
I never went under no truck. I'm allergic to metal like that. I mean,
yeah,
I've gotten hit by a pickup truck, but I never went under one.
yeah.
You
I
know,
understand.
Bill?
I understand.
No?
Trust me, it wasn't intended. That was the last time that was gonna happen.
Yeah, that same car that I had back in the day was a 1982 Cutlass Supreme Braun, and that was wrecked by I was hit like 3 times, and I hit a pole on Delilah Road on the downslope. You know, and my car was hit by a New Jersey Bell pickup truck back in the day. It
Oh
took
man,
the whole passenger side out, so
damn.
everything that was left there was just the driver's side.
Oh, that sucks.
No kidding. You know, yeah, it messed up my knee and stuff. Yeah, no doubt. Broke
Yeah.
my seat in half.
Wow. So you know, thank God you were blessed to be protected.
Yeah, that's the reason why I love life. I'm telling you, been down the road a few times with that, you know. As a
I,
matter of fact, when I worked valet, I had an accident with Steve Wynn's nephew. With his nephew, yeah. You know, the car that this one lady ran a red light, hit my car. Steve Wynn's nephew was working valet for a Golden Nugget.
uh-huh,
Hit his car, pushing his car back, creating a domino effect, 3 cars behind him.
uh-huh.
You know, so
I've been in a few accidents in my days. I've been into some horrible accidents that to this day, it's only God's grace and
yeah,
mercy.
that's it.
One time, I was in a Pacer, a GMC Pacer. Remember how they with all the
I
windows?
remember the little places, yeah.
Yeah, loved the engine. It fast as hell. Wasn't a gas guzzler. It was it was all that for what it was. My mom was trying to drive me to my first day at work. It may have been my first real adult job, and it was behind MLK school. And then this truck came flying up, hit us. We went from the middle of the intersection and was pushed all the way into the building. Um, the vehicle was demolished the whole nine. My mom went through reconstructive surgery in a shoulder, whole bunch of stuff really bad. I didn't suffer much at all, but that was probably one of the hardest ones.
Okay.
But I, I had another one when I was younger. I think we may have been 9, 10 years old. My mom was driving in a station wagon going towards Millville, and you know these rural back roads and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Nothing. So while we were driving, it was nighttime, and it seemed like there may have been a hidden driveway, and a guy came blazing out of this hidden driveway. So my mom driving, trying to avoid not hitting him, almost drove into incoming traffic. She tried to zigzag from them. and it was an old station wagon, so it didn't have that much stability in driving.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we ended up rolling over. Um, my brother that was with me, in panicking, was able to take us all out of the vehicle, hoping that it didn't blow up. It never blew, but it did caught fire. So that was that. But
Wow.
my most horrible accident, that to this day I'm like, yo, that was God all the way. I'm driving a it was another blue vehicle. That's why I'm never driving blue vehicles again.
Stay away from blue, huh?
Yeah, I just something about blue. But I forget where I was. I was at, where Johnny D's pizza shop is in Pleasantville.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right off of right next to Johnny D's, and then what used to be the steak place right in the corner of that parking lot.
Well, I know exactly where you
Right.
are.
Well, I was there waiting for a friend of mine coming from out of town because he was coming to visit us when we were at a party, and we were partying offshore in the back road off of Tilton. Um, Tilton Road, there used to be a community back there that every year was known to have these pool parties. So we're having a wonderful time in a pool party, and I'm early 20s, if not early 30s, and having a good time, whatever. So I'm at this parking lot waiting for this guy to come on because he was supposed to get off the bus or something in Pleasantville, and we waited for him. I got in the truck, he got in the car, in the whole nine, and I see a car at a fairly maybe about a half a block away. He was on the top of the hill. Remember how this is a valley, right? So I'm at the bottom of the valley. He's at the top of the hill. I'm looking at him like, I got enough time and space. I can just jet out and catch it. We go. Well, this guy looked like he wanted to catch it too. So as I'm hitting the gas, so is he. He hits the gas, then hits me. And he hits me at top speed, hits my vehicle. I get knocked into the building that used to be your cell phone store. Is that the one?
Yeah, what there?
Yeah. If to this day, if you look at the edge of that building where you see they did brickwork, that was my doing. That was my car and my body in there so much, to the point where the Pennsylvania EMTs at that time
What year did this happen?
had to be like 2000, no, 90, 98, maybe 98, 97, somewhere around there. Yeah.
Yeah, because you have Main Street here, you have Old Turnpike Road, and then you have, Adams,
Well, you
accountant,
have
and then
all
you have
right there.
Chelsea and Kim's right there, and then you
Well,
have a little parking lot slant way there. Then you have Johnny D's right there.
right. I was coming straight out of that parking lot to go straight on to that. What's that old turnpike?
Old
Whatever,
Turnpike, yeah.
where the library is. Going to that, and I tried to speed up because I thought I was going to catch him, because I thought he wasn't going to speed up and continue. He was on a crawl, so I thought I was going fast enough. And as I was going fast enough to go, so was he. So he hit me and knocked me into that building. Knocked me into that building so much that the basic car collapsed on me, and I was trapped in it. And firemen, everything came out because there was a lot of gas and some shit. My boy was removed. He was trying to pull me out, couldn't pull me out. I was in shock so much that I was laughing. I was like an idiot. I was laughing like crazy. I was laughing at anything. It took the jaws of life to remove me from the vehicle. I got pulled into the EMT. I'm talking to the EMT, and the guy's like, I can't work on this guy. He won't stop moving out, because I was laughing so much in just response, and I was in shock. That when I finally got to the hospital, the male nurse was like, yo, what is wrong with you? Like, he was like so frustrated.
Mm-hmm.
What is wrong with you? I'm like, I just got in a car accident. What you mean I'm wrong? And I'm started laughing or whatever. And the more he says, I went to X-ray. I've never seen a human femur bone as big as yours. What the hell is wrong with you? So he kept on joking with me. And that was the ongoing joke for years. He says he's never seen a human being with a femur as big as mine, wasn't scratched, with the type of accident that was in. I should have had a smashed pelvic bone, smashed leg, and the whole nine, because where I was trapped in was in my midsection. He says, you're really lucky, because that could have punctured your rib, it punctured your thing, because you got pinned at that point in time. He's like, he don't know what it is. After the fact, I was like, yeah, that was God all the way around. That was God protecting me from that, because when it hit, I collapsed, and he hit me right on the driver's side, because of course when you're driving out, and he hit me hard, top speed, and knocked me into it. And he had, I think it was a sports car, may have been like a Mazda, a small Mazda R3 or something like that. And when he hit me, and my car was a regular sedan, it was a smaller sedan. I can't remember what it was, but it was a blue vehicle. But he knocked me in, and it collapsed, into me, and it was the crazy shit. But that was the worst accident I've been in. But I am so lucky to say that no matter what car accidents I've been in,
You survived.
I've survived it, never had any. I think the worst situation I've ever had is when this car hit me as I was turning into Crescent Avenue in Chelsea Heights. She was speeding to catch the light that was a half a mile up and forgot that my car was there. When she hit me, my response at that time was, because the car cabin was, my head hit the top of the cabin, rubbed off some of the skin that was here, so I started bleeding off of here, and my neck was a little sore. But that was it. That's the worst I've ever suffered, thank God, of any car accident.
Wow.
Yeah. So
A
that's
lot
why.
to be thankful for, man. You got to appreciate life all the way around. A lot of
Absolutely.
people don't see that.
Absolutely. Because I tell you, I am one of these aggressive drivers that have been known. Weather, disposition, people, things that get in the way, it don't stop me. I will get what it is. And at earlier times in my life, I was known to hit 100 miles an hour easily if I'm in a rush to go somewhere.
Speaking about 100 miles an hour, I think somewhere, I believe it was in Delaware,
Mm-hmm.
either Delaware, New Jersey.
Uh-huh.
I think it was more like Delaware, whereas a judge's son, the son of a judge, actually was flying down the street at 35 miles an hour. He was doing 103 miles an hour in a 35-mile-an-hour zone.
Wow.
And not only that, come to find out that he had alcohol and cocaine in his system.
That's crazy.
And he lost control of his vehicle and plowed into someone's house, tore that house up.
That's horrible.
So the DA and those guys are like, yo, even though that your dad is the judge, this is going to have zero bearing. We're going to have to prosecute you for everything.
Hell yeah.
103 miles an hour in a 35-mile-an-hour zone. You talk about reckless.
As he should be. As he should be. Because people don't understand speed. They don't respect speed either.
No.
Speed affects your driving.
Yes, it does.
If your vehicle's not built for speed, it will cause you to have to respond to your car a lot more because you'll have the vibration, the wiggle.
Yeah, especially when you have play within the steering wheel also.
Oh
You
yeah.
have a certain amount of play within the steering wheel because this is like state troopers. When you say trooper, those cars are modified for speed.
Yep.
They take away all of the play from the steering wheel, so everything is like an instant, like a race car driver. You cannot have any play within the steering wheel. It's not like a conventional vehicle out here.
No.
It lacks the play.
Yep. Double the barriers inside to make sure.
Yeah, and everything exactly, and that's the thing because when it starts speeding, the vehicle goes down closer to the ground.
Mm-hmm.
That's when it so it grips the road when it's actually at a high rate of speed.
Yep. Aeronautics.
Exactly, it's built for speed.
Yeah, when it goes lower, if you're not aware, the lower the vehicle goes on, it creates a suction. The wind tunnel effect underneath the vehicle and the land creates a suction.
It grips the road.
Exactly, creeps the road. So, and you can feel if your vehicle is made for it. Most vehicles are not. Although you see 100 miles an hour, you'll see your speedometer go up to 140, 160. Don't test it because it's not made for that type of speed. I remember
I did that with a cop car one time in Valet. I took it upstairs. I says, all right, let me see. This is a cop car here. And I decided to hit the accelerator and fly down to the next side. I'm like, whoa, I'm like, yo. I'm like, this is a little too quick for me, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's built for speed.
I remember 19 years old. I was working for, I think it was called Rent America back in the day. We had just bought, the company had just bought a Toyota pickup truck. The Toyota pickup truck was the speedometer. And, most of the times at that time, this is 1990. You don't see too many vehicles at that time where the speedometer goes above 100 miles an hour. Classically, you got older cars, you see 80. You might see 100 tops. But you don't see it. This one had 160. Oh, that was a test for me. I want to feel how this pickup truck reacts. I was going down Delilah at 110 miles an hour. We're talking about shaky everything. and I'm in a pickup truck that whose profile is taller.
Oh, yeah.
And I was lucky that I didn't pick up wind. I didn't hit a bump and become aerial or nothing like that. But at that time, I just needed to see how it responded. I never had an issue back then after that. But I know speed. I like speed, but I know my limits. So I don't
Speed
speed.
is something you have to respect, just like water and electricity. You have to
Absolutely.
respect it. Because if you don't respect it, it's going to take you out.
Absolutely. That's why I don't speed. When I have to get someplace, I will get there as soon as I possibly can. Because
Give
I'd
yourself
rather,
enough time to actually make it happen.
yeah,
Listen, get there safely.
yeah. I'm quick, fast to navigate through traffic to avoid tickets. I mean, lights and so on and so forth, because I can get to where I need to go without getting those barriers. And I try not to go fast all the time. I know how to control speed, but I know myself. If I see an open lane or open range, and I know when you go into certain areas off the turnpike I-95, you'll see 70. And the cops will tell you you can float around 75, 80. I've hit 75, 80 easy. I remember one time my friend and I had my Honda Accord, my boy Scott. He had just got a Saab, and we were going to visit his cousin, which was my girlfriend at the time, in Baltimore. We were in Jersey City. No lie. Jersey City to Baltimore, 1 hour, 15 minutes.
That's
1
rolling.
hour, 15 minutes. We had walkie-talkies on. We had other vehicles following us. We had a whole caravan of high-performance vehicles doing the same thing, and everyone's communicating when the cops are. Everyone was like, it was like the Cannonball Run back then, because you saw all the tractor trailers like letting you know, slow down, whatever, your walkie-talkies, whatever the situation is. I mean, we didn't have walkie-talkies other than some shit that I had bought. It was like from a toy store. It was pretty good range because he would have his connected to his ear. I'd have mine. He's driving his vehicle. I'm driving mine. We would talk to one another. That was our walkie-talkies.
Yeah, that's what people used to do back in the day.
Yep. But I forget where it was. He had something else that had access to a walkie. It might be a Saab. He might have had a CB, the old school CBs.
Yeah.
So
Had one.
right. So I think he had a CB, so he was able to alert me. He's like, "Yo, a cop in up the hill. We need to slow down.
Mhm.
Hiding behind this."
Yeah, my boys and I used to do that all the time. Go out of town, 4 cars. We just be running just like you said, like Cannonball Run. Radar detectors and all.
Exactly. Oh yeah, we have radar detectors.
Yeah,
I
still
had the
do.
best I could afford at the time.
Still do.
Yeah, you still do. Yeah, I remember going through. Like I said, we went to Baltimore from Newark, New Jersey, Jersey City, New Jersey, an hour and 15 minutes. People are like, no, you didn't. Yes, we did. Yes, we did. That's
Yeah.
full throttle all the way down. It was like it takes you an hour basically to get from here to Delaware, given traffic and so on and so forth. But from Jersey City, the turnpike to hit 95 to hit out, an hour and 15 minutes. We was hauling ass. That was the last time I hauled ass.
I remember you was talking about Valley a little while ago. I remember when I went to Valley, I will never forget this situation. Whereas this one guy decided to Valley park a Mercedes Benz. So he took it up to the second floor of the garage. And what this guy did was put his foot on the brake and actually put the accelerator all the way to the floor and left it there. Then he took his foot off the brake, and the tires started
smoking,
burning rubber like crazy.
Yep.
It got so bad they had to call the fire department.
Yep. Real will.
Yeah.
Real will.
Exactly. They had to call the fire department because there was so much smoke coming from that car.
They burned it. Depends
Yeah,
on
no doubt. Well, that was his last day on the job also.
Hell yeah.
No doubt. That's why Valley parking my car is like, no, I'll park it myself and I'll come out.
Yeah.
Sometimes best,
Yeah. I don't even try it. I think the last time I ever burned rubber, I had a matter of fact, it was a Thunderbird, 1977 Thunderbird. And we were in a rush to do something younger. And matter of fact, let me get this right. This was driving before I even had a license, because I've been driving since I was 12. But I didn't get my license until I was 21 because I got caught driving without a license. So I had to wait till I was 21 to get my official license. I got caught, but I've been driving since I was 12. And I remember
Wow.
the
You
situation.
remind me of that little kid that they found on the turnpike, and he was sitting on telephone directories driving the car. And the only way they discovered it was a kid is when he came up to the toll. They see the little kid right, he couldn't reach across to pay the toll. I said, wait a minute. And couldn't find he stole his parents' car. That's what
Yep.
he did. And they found him on the turnpike.
It was funny. I remember earlier on, like I said, my mom and my dad, my stepdad. My stepdad he's the one that taught me to drive. And it was at times I could drive when I'm with them. And we had, like, my father had, my stepdad had and to this day I'm like, man, I wish we'd have kept that. I think he had a Galaxy. It was a stone cold American dragster, beautiful, that you see nowadays in lowriders and so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was a Galaxy, and it was in a pure engine. It was, when you hit that sucker, you're gone. You are stuck from the G-force. It was that much. It was a big block engine. It was I think it was a 385. I think it was either that or 402 engine. It was amazing. And driving that, but the Thunderbird had the big V8. And that sucker had some serious. It wasn't a big block, but it had a lot of torque. And I remember hitting the gas, not thinking about it, but I floored it, not really wanting, and floored it, and then wheels start spinning, and it starts spinning. Then all of a sudden, I'm fishtailing a little bit, and I'm starting to bug out because I'm like, what's going on? Not thinking I need to slow up on the accelerator because I'm causing this to skid. And I'm like, after that fact, my mom's like, get out, get out, get out. You're not driving. Then the next day I started driving again, but that was then. That was the
Wow.
only time I really spent the wheels.
Yeah, I did everything legitimately. So I started, high school. You take the test, the whole 9 yards, 16, and then you turn 17. I had to go through that kind of stuff. So, but the thing about it is, as soon as I got my driver's license, I started working at Golden Nugget Valet. So it made a big difference. This is where I really learned how to. I did it, professionally. Working for valet, it made money, and you learn to drive. And the only reason why I did that because my mother says, she won't allow me to drive her car.
Right.
So because I just got my license, so I went and got a job driving cars for a living.
Mm-hmm.
See,
Yep.
so wherever there's a will, there's a way.
That's true. It was probably the easiest and least threatening opportunity for you to be able to drive all.
Exactly. You make a good bit of money, and at the same time, because back in the day, all the valet parkers didn't have to declare their tips.
Yep.
So you get to keep it.
Man, I've seen some vehicles like the first time. Well, being in Lang City, you see all kinds of luxury vehicles all the time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I remember the very first time I saw a Hummer, it blew my doors off. I was like, wow, that's kind of cool because I come from the time frame G.I. Joe and the Tonka
Yeah.
truck.
Yeah.
You know, so when I first saw it, I loved it. I was like, oh man, I've been hooked ever since. And
Wow.
then came a Bugatti Veyron. First time I saw one, I looked at that stuff. I said, that's got to be a toy car. Because when you see a car on a TV, you're thinking, wow, that sucker's big as hell. When you finally see it, it's a small, compact vehicle, but it's built like a big ass engine, huge ass jet engine. A Veyron is not. All I looked at it was like, I won't ever be able to fit in something like that. I am so thankful that I can't fit in something like that because I'll be the one testing that shit on some track somewhere. I want to
Put
see
it
what
to
you can
work,
do.
huh?
Huh?
Putting it to work, huh?
Oh yeah, test it. I was told earlier on by mechanics, when you first get your vehicle, you gotta test it in the first
Yep.
hour that you get it. Gotta test it. That means test the
Put it
brakes.
over the road. Put it
Yep.
over the road.
Yep. Check the suspension, check the brakes. Make sure you haul ass for a while,
Yeah.
skid out in the whole nine, then get out and look at the engine the brackets, look at the frame, look at the muffler, and then check your transmission. Those are the things, as soon as you get it, go out there and test, because then you'll be able to tell whether something was masked temporarily for the drive and for you to be able to buy it or something else. Ever since, it stuck to me. I will test it in a minute. Tires tested, shaking, making sure the shocks are still put in, make sure the stabilizers are put in. Not a problem. They don't want you to kick the vehicle anymore because people are aware of some of the scams that they do for you. I'm like, but I'm good for that. I will test the vehicle in a minute. Look, put under the hood.
The road, yeah.
Yep. Put under the hood. I'm like, yo, open up the latch. I'm gonna show me the hood. Show me the engine. Okay, cool. Now lift up the plastic parts. I want to see the engine. Give me the block. I want to see the block. I want to see the calipers. I want to see everything. Give me all your stuff. Is it a route? Is it a rotary? I want to see the intake. I want to see where all the coolants are coming in. I want to see if there's the air conditioning compressor system. I want to see if there's a turbo. I want to see if it's a bi-turbo. I want to see if all that stuff. I want to see it. Because if I'm able to see it, I can account for it. How many times people buy cars just because the way it looks, then find out later it's a kit car.
Yeah.
I'm like, you don't catch me out there. So my dreams came with details.
Hey, Kavit M told it to buy and beware. That's what they say all the time.
Yep, because always gonna get got. You know what's crazy? Just thinking about that stuff. Recently, I just found out that now used cars have more value than brand new cars.
And that's the reason why it's hard to get a hold of these days. Yeah.
Now there is not enough cars being built for them to supply the want. So now the desires are used cars. So if you have a used car that has a great value to it, low miles,
Yeah.
you will get way more for it, almost double the value, the actual book value. So now they're not even looking at Kelly Blue Book.
Exactly. Especially with this pandemic, a lot of car dealers said we can't keep the used cars in stock whatsoever. Everybody's buying them up like crazy.
And I'm lucky to have an SUV, and that's one of the ones that are high, on request. The type of SUV I have, just Katie, I'm like, those are the ones, and I keep the engine running, purring, and all that stuff. I said, yep, I can't wait because I'm gonna cash out and get the bigger SUV that I want.
Cash that out and get the other joint, huh?
That's it. Well, God willing, everything work out. I'm gonna make sure my wife has the truck that she wants, a smaller truck, something smaller. But I want either a Yukon or I like the new Nissan Armada too. But I don't know how the engine is. I have to look at it and really look at the reviews on it. But the engine that Nissan developed that's in your car, it's the first time because I had it in an Altima when Altima first came.
It was lasting for a while, man. I'm telling you.
God, that was the
This is my third one.
Huh?
It's my third Altima.
You get a smart car. That's what I want.
My son talking about you can give me a smart car. I said, yeah, I'm gonna get you a smart car, the real small one, the one that it's small as hell, but it's built to be very protected. But it's got some put to it. I said, you see,
my remote control car phone. Yeah, there goes a small car. It works remote control.
Nah, the smart car is smaller than a Fiat. Yep. But it's a very protective car. It's built perfect. Like you need
body when these days, man. You need body, even though a lot of it is fiberglass, whatever the case may be. Still, you still need some body around you.
Yep.
Because, like it says, this is my third one. I'm like, I'm good with the Nissans because they last a long time. I know to repair them with no problem. I could always find parts when I need it when I go to the salvage company or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, that was the first Nissan, and I bought it cash. And I bought it brand new. It had 12 miles on it. I said, okay, cool. Let me test it in the whole 12 miles. Usually I don't get brand new cars that way, but I was like, at that time, I'm going to treat myself because it was loaded with everything. It wasn't the top of the line Altima because I had intentions to modify it. I never modified it, but I got miles galore off that sucker. And it was a stick shift, 5-speed stick. So I had everything that I needed for it. It was really good on gas. So that was my first Nissan experience, and the engine itself, because you know how most engines, all the pulleys are right up from belts. This one is a chain. It was the first time I used the chain, so you wouldn't have the same problem. Nissan mastered that. That was a really good engineering thing that made it burn more efficiently, and it was less likely to break down. There's a lot of cars you'll hear the skeezing sound of the belt and all that stuff because you have to readjust it. Then you got to adjust multiple points. Not on the chain. That whole chain situation, if there's a problem, you ain't going nowhere until you fix it. So you're good. So it actually being a really good vehicle. But I want to look at the new Armada. I like the size of it because I'm a big guy, of course. But I have to make sure if something happens, it's got to be able to move my personal family, which is 3 of us, my mother-in-law and my mother and a significant other now. So I got to make sure that it's big enough for 6 of us at the very core minimum. But then we have a situation where like my aunt came with us one time in emergency evacuation. And then you have my dog. And so you have all these people that I have to be able to fit for emergency situations to leave. So I'm not going to get a Suburban because my wife keeps talking about I'm not ever driving this and that. Plus, it's a gas guzzler. Fast as hell though, it's nice and fast. But I would always think I said maybe the Armada. I have the vehicle I have is because the first truck I was able to buy just straight out was a Saturn Outlook, and I love the Saturn Outlook when it was built. So it took me about 3 years to find the Saturn Outlook I wanted, and I found it. XLR, everything. I mean, the grade of leather was so soft, the cabin was so quiet, the Bose in there was the Bose premium
Yeah.
sound.
A lot of
Everything.
Ultimates come with the Bose sound system. Those are bad systems, boy.
Oh, yeah, everything. The whole it was at that time it was the Bose premium, the same thing that was on the Maxima. Because the Outlook is basically the same thing as the Chevy, just the different things. But the Bose Premium, it had a sunroof with automatic, like you turn off the engine, the sunroof closes on itself.
Mhm.
You can click your key fob can change, move the seat, adjust the windows, open up the sun.
Correct.
It
Yeah.
was all intricate. It had it all. Seat memory, everything. It had cooling and heating on the seats, everything loaded. Good gas and everything. Just shitty transmission. I was so sad. It was, but what I have now is it's called the L, right? The manufacturer, the body size is called the L body. And I almost bought a GMC Acadia back in the day, but I didn't like it. I liked the Outlook. I said, okay, cool. Got the Outlook. Loved it the whole nine. The very next vehicle I bought was a Chevy, but I always wanted the Outlook. So I couldn't find Outlook because it went out of business on whole nine. Very next thing I got was the Acadia. The Acadia took the body of the Outlook and did all the intricate things of it. So that's what I have. I ended up getting the same thing. So
Okay.
maybe the next thing I get would be a Chevy Tahoe. It's just I think a Chevy Tahoe cabin is not as roomy as the Nissan Armada. But I want to know, I don't know the torque of a Nissan Armada to have enough engine power because I'd like to have it so in case something happens in inclement weather, I can do what I need to do as I've always done, whether it's jump up on a sidewalk, if it has enough torque to be able to manage through bad weather. The StabiliTrak system, I don't know how good it is because I know in the Nissans, StabiliTrak is pretty good response, but that's an SUV and it's a little different. Even though it was built for the Infinity side of Nissan, but that because of the weight differential, I don't know how different it is, but I want to look into that. I like that vehicle. It's either, like I said, the Outlook. I mean, not the Outlook, the Armada or the Tahoe / Yukon, which is the same thing. Those are the ones I like. I ain't gonna say Escalade because that's a little bit above my pay scale.
You can YouTube some of that stuff, and you will actually see it there on YouTube and be able to give you some specs. It's a good form of referencing.
Yeah. I'm always watching YouTube, man. When it comes to auto vehicles and so on and so forth.
Yeah, so do I. It teaches you a lot.
Yep. Like
Totally indispensable.
There's this one website off of YouTube. It's called Rides or Ready, something like that. South Florida. He's always doing dimensions of the vehicles, engines, give you a ride the whole nine. He did a review on the Genesis. And I like the Genesis the way it was built. I love the fact that Genesis engines are so good, and the fact that it's still less expensive than the luxury vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
So I've always down with Genesis. When they made the truck, I said I love it. I said if I can afford it, I can get my wife the Genesis truck, and then I'll get the one that I want because they're not built for somebody this big. I get up in there, I'll be like all tight as hell up in the screen.
Yeah, no doubt. It'd be cramped up in there.
Yeah, but it's not safe. You know what I'm saying? So we'll get that one. But what I did see also is the Mazda. Is it the Mazda Carnival? No, Kia. Kia came out with a truck called the Carnival. That sucker is so nice inside. It looks like the old Explorer, the body frame and the whole nine, but it's built with so much more delicate, and it has.
It's by Kia.
Yeah, Kia. It's called a Carnival. It has theater seats. The second, what do they call it? Captain seats are theater seats, and it's such a beautiful vehicle. It just doesn't have the raw power that I usually like, but it's a pretty fly ass car. I'm gonna show you a look of a Kia Carnival, and you can see what I'm talking about. But I saw the review, like this is the Carnival. It's called they call it a minivan, right? But it is built like a truck. And
Wow.
I'm gonna show you how this looks. It's crazy, but it looks like an Explorer, but it's called the minivan. But this Kia is no joke, luxury wise.
Okay, yeah, I've seen. Yeah.
You see how inside
Mhm.
the seats can revolve backwards, inwards, fold. It has reclining seats. I was like, damn, that sucker's loaded. It has cabin control, has the speaker system, so a person who's driving in the front can talk in a microphone and hear through a speaker what someone in the third seat is saying. It has the doors on both sides that open up automatically. It's a fly ass little truck. And as you see, like I said, it looks just like an Explorer,
Yeah, it does.
and it's not that big. And I was like, I like this sucker. I said, I can probably get this for my wife, and we have enough space. If you look inside, beautiful that cognac color. I love that cognac color for a truck. But if you had the rear bench, the two seats here and the two seats over here, that's about what I have now. But you also have a secondary bench. But the shit, it reclines. I said it vibrates. You got the whole screen system. It is really nice. And I think this one's 40, 45. So for Kia, I was like, okay. But I looked at that. I was like, maybe that could be consideration for our vehicle, because it's always about budget, man. It's got to be
Yeah.
budget. Got to be within my budget. But that's the vehicle. And I was like, yo, it's nice. It's got the dual sunroof.
Looking pretty smooth. Yeah.
Yep. I said the moonroof. It's got a full capacity moonroof too. Like the whole entire roof can be the moonroof.
Mm.
Yeah, that could be kind of cool, I guess. But the big ass screens, like this is a big, what's that, a good 20-inch screen on the back?
Wow.
20-inch screens that comes from the factories, nothing that you have to bring out. That's the whole sunroof, moonroof action. It's huge.
Okay.
It is huge. I mean, it's a pretty fly vehicle. And the bills and stuff like this is, if you see on the left-hand side here, this offers a sport package, and then you have another package, I think it's called premium. And each one, it depends on what you like, man. But I said that might be the one I get. It might be the one I get, but I want something that if I need to haul many things, I'm able to put things in it.
Okay.
But most importantly, what I want is something that's big enough for us when we have to evacuate, if you have to evacuate, or if we're moving to Florida, I can haul ass and bring things with
Yeah,
me.
make things happen. You want to be ready, ready like Freddie, when it's time to rock real steady, no doubt.
Exactly. Exactly. But yeah. Whatever the chips that fall make them. But I've been watching a lot of restoration TV lately. I saw Rust to Riches on Netflix, and I was like, yo, I saw some of them cars. Like, I always said if I can afford it, if I can get a chance, I would love to get a Packard, a 1939 Packard. Because to me, they've always been the epitome of luxury. Beautiful contouring vehicle. It's a lot of engine. I think it was a 32 valve V12. It was a lot of engine. I mean, fast to be a car back then, but it was made to be ride slow and cool as hell because it was built with all leather seats, buckets. Beautiful vehicle, beautiful. It had the big, like you said, the white wall tires. Back then, they had color coordinated tires. It was huge. I mean, it's a beautiful vehicle. My grandfather in Puerto Rico had one, and it was sitting in the back of the house, and it was engulfed with a whole bunch of trees and foliage. I mean, it's been there, I think, probably since 1939. And it just left an impression on me. I always thought it was a beautiful car because you can see the woman. I don't know if you ever paid attention. The Packers would have this hood emblem that looked like a woman with her hands backward and the hair going back. It was this real beautiful long. And the hood emblem had to be about at least almost a foot long. It was that big, beautiful. Well, this one had it. And it just left an impression on me. I was like, I always loved it. Said if I can find one, I would love to restore one. And that'd be the epitome vehicle. It's just the family vehicle. It's big enough that all of us can jump in it. But it was one of those kind of things like, oh, you want to ride a Mustang? Not a problem. Oh, you think you fast? Oh, okay. All right. Let me show you what fast is. Big block, big boy engine.
I had a friend of mine at Trump Plaza, bought in one of antique cars and stuff. And he's like, yo, H, I want to hook this up. And when I saw what he was actually doing to it, I'm like, something, you're on the right track with this, the way you're hooking everything up. I says, continue to keep hooking it up, and you're gonna end up put it in a car show. That's what you do after you finish hook it up. And I said, there's no doubt about it. You're gonna come in number one after you finish with this bad boy, based on what you're telling me. When he took my word for it, a few years later, he actually won the car show. He has this huge trophy. He's like, yo, hey, I remember what he told me about. I'm like, yeah, I called it. There it is right there, big time.
Hell yeah.
Put a lot of work in it, chrome the engine out, everything.
Beautiful. I mean, I love older vehicles for what they are, but I guess in another life I was an engine that, like, I'm just learning about vehicles. You know what I mean? I like to try to believe that I can take care of certain small repairs and stuff, but combustion, iron, aluminum blocks and stuff like that, I'm just starting to learn. And there's so many cool ass vehicles. Like, I would take an old 1929 Cadillac and chop the hood off. I chop it down and slam it on the ground, put some huge monster tires, and it'd be the lowrider. But they look sleek. They remind me of comic book character vehicles back in the day. That's the cool shit, man. I've seen some beautiful vehicles converted into modern day use using, I think they call them pre-mods now. Like they're fabricated vehicles from the past with modern day amenities. I was like, I like that concept. I said, I get one of those old.
Those little bad boys that had carburetors back in the day, man. I remember going to school working on the carburetors.
Hell yeah.
That was my thing, man. I'm telling you, the carburetors. Those bad boys apart. Those, screwdrivers, the whole 9 yards. Yeah.
Just spitting gas in it, holding the carburetor flap door open.
Exactly. Exactly. The carburetors, you got to get the flap moving when it goes in and out.
Yep. I think the last time I worked on anything, and moderately, like I said, I'm not a mechanic at all. I just know a little bit, and I remember some things. But my dad's car, the one car that he had, the Chevy, he would work on that carburetor, and that carburetor was sitting on top. And he had blowers, and I was like, I'm thinking it was a regular. Nah, he had blowers on this. I was like, the hell is that? Boom! And I'm like, we're talking about some serious airflow. And the carburetor, you see how things were going.
You take the carburetor, then you get, the cover for the carburetor, chrome everything out. I'm serious.
Right, with the plugs on it.
Yeah.
Yep. You see the ignition, depends on which one. You can smell the ignition, how the electricity sparks on the inside. I was like, yeah, man. Yeah.
And some of us just like that stuff naturally, man. I'm telling you. The thing about it is, because when we went to automotive school, the first thing they got us to start working on was lawnmowers. So what they did, at Penco Tech, they have all of the people in the entire area in the neighborhood. When they have a lawnmower that's no longer working, they said donate it to Penco Tech and have the technicians work on the lawnmower, because remember, they had a carburetor system. Mm-hmm. So that's how we actually started learning on carburetors, and then you move up to the cars.
Okay. That's cool, man. I always thought, like I said, what little I learned is from watching. I don't know a whole lot, but I'm aware. I'm familiar a little bit. But I always wondered, man, it's really cool as hell to be able to design your own engine, build your own engine, peak it to its maximum capacity, knowing what it is about combustion, the pressure powers, the valving systems, understanding what it means when they're telling you a big block engine. They tell you the difference between V8, V6
Mopar engine and stuff like that. Yeah,
Mopar. Yeah. Someone telling you about a 402, and you know what the hell 402, 400 square inches of poor power inside. That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about.
She, me and my best friend, he had a Toyota, a Toyota Celica back in the day, and he's like, yo, hey, I want to pull this out. We're going to take this engine out. We're going to actually put this in. So we pulled it into his backyard. I think we pushed it into his backyard, and both of us went to work on it, man. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, by the time it was done, we had that bad boy hooked up. We're like, yo, we good to go. And that's that's teamwork. When you have your best friend and you guys working on the car. I was watching my man, on YouTube. He put his stuff on YouTube, not YouTube, but on Facebook every now and then. Derek Brock, when he was working on a car door. I says, I look at it and I start smiling. I said, I remember doing those things, I'm like, pull the whole door off, the whole nine. It's sitting on the ground with the glass, on my lawn, then go across the next side and pull the whole thing off. you know, the actuator and the whole 9 yards, man. I'm serious. You know, there's my girl Gina. Huh?
It's
Yeah,
all good, Gene. It's all good. You was talking about the Toyota Celica. I remember my ex-girlfriend, my girlfriend in high school. She had gotten her hands. I think it was a 1978 Toyota Celica. It was 78 Toyota Celica, and I working on it. I had to change out the stick shift on and that sucker had that little Toyota Celica was a little fast vehicle.
yeah.
I was like,
But after the Celica came the Supra. I'll never forget a stick shift Supra that I actually drove when it first came out. When I worked at Golden Nugget back in the day, man, I put that bad boy over the road.
that's a beautiful vehicle, man. The Toyota Supra. It is.
Yeah.
It's a made for
Hey,
two
Gene.
cars. The SEMA. It's made for that type of stuff. I've seen some beautiful vehicles. I've always said I love that one. You know, when it comes to like a
Yeah,
SEMA
the Supra
action,
was nice, man.
those yeah, they're beautiful, man. If you into speed and racing and stuff like that,
Yeah, the Supra was a really nice car.
it's like the Nissan GTR, that type of stuff, or the Mitsubishi, or it's actually the Lancer or the Evo. Yeah,
Oh, the Evo.
the Evo.
The Evo.
The
Isn't that
EV.
an electronic vehicle back in the day?
Yeah.
The Evo.
No, the Evo was the engine. It was a Lancer engine on the
Okay.
Mitsubishi vehicle.
There was a car that was also the Evo also. It was
Was
electric, very first electric vehicle was called the Evo.
was it? Okay.
Yeah, it was called the Evo, the very first electric vehicle. And
Okay.
what happened was, you know, after they manufactured a whole lot of them, they decided to do a recall, and then they went around and then repossessed all of these people's vehicles because it was running competition with gas, and the gas companies just didn't like it.
Right.
You
Wow.
know, so but now everything is going electric, you know, hybrid one way or another. You have electric vehicles here and there. It's making a comeback again.
Hmm. And that's a good thing, man. I think it's good for the industry, for automobile industry. Um, well, you saw some vehicles because now they're actually trying to go back into nitrogen as being also a fuel option too. And the nitrogen capacity wise are really strong. So we're talking about major
Yeah.
vehicles
So that's
that
what they
do.
use on a lot of stock cars when they're actually doing
Yep,
drag racing and stuff like that. It's nitro.
yep, yep. Nitrous oxide, right? But it's just the potential is really cool. Like when you're talking about electric cars, people always constantly say Tesla, Tesla, and they're cool and all that stuff. But I like the Karma. Karma had a really nice, cool ass looking car, and I like now the new design that's coming out of. I want to say that the Netherlands that has trucks because there's a couple trucks competing with Tesla's electric pickup truck, and there's a couple of them. And I want to say the Monarch, and it's such a beautiful vehicle, man. It's a SUV. It has a pickup truck bed that extends off the vehicle, and
Hmm.
it's built off of the same concept of having a 4x4, but it's a six wheel setup. It's either a 4 wheel or 6 wheel setup, depends on if you want it fully electric. They said it has a 600-mile capacity. I'm like, wow, on electric, 600 miles. And I said, because it's electric, is also quick. It's pretty quick. I said, I like that
And
concept.
start putting a whole lot of those electric cars out there and get rid of the gas stations. And the
Yeah,
gas stations are always going to be around, but you know, the refill station or the refueling station or whatever you want to call it when it
it's
comes down to like electric vehicles.
it's hard to find them.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it's hard to
Of
find
course.
them.
Yeah.
Reverse engineering. That's one of the things they should have did is make
Yeah.
sure that there was enough electric refill centers all over the
Exactly. You know, because the thing about it, look at the expressway and the parkway. You know, if your vehicle could actually make it to a rest stop, this should have a where you could actually plug your vehicle in, and bam, you have more electricity to get to your next stop. That's
Yep,
what
that's
that's
one of
what
the
they
things
should
they
be
should have did is
doing.
make sure that there was enough and then the other part is making sure that when you charge your vehicle, it doesn't take that long. That's the one thing about Tesla. There's no quick refill. Volvo electric vehicles are quick fill. Like you get, I think it's 60% electric capacity within 30 minutes. 30 minutes, you get 60% of full capacity in their Volvo electric vehicle, in their big trucks, SUV. I was like, that's pretty good because Tesla, to be able to get 50 and 60%, you have to be at least an hour or two. I'm like, that's a long ass wait for you to
I see
charge
that you
back
go
up.
to Northfield and stuff, right, where there's a new supermarket in Northfield. That's
But
what a lot of those guys, charge up their Tesla cars, and you just see it sitting there. So what you gonna do? Go shopping in the meantime while your car is charging up? I can't go anywhere because my car is still charging up.
exactly. That's why I say some of the hybrids were better ideas. The ones that would switch from electricity to gas,
Exactly. That's
those were the better ones.
yeah,
To,
yeah, it is.
to make more sense because
Makes more
gas
sense.
is more accessible. So when you go on a long distance driving, let it go into electric in the distance, and then when you're in the city driving, let it be gas, because
Correct.
at least it'll save you a situation where you're not in an issue about losing the power to get to where you got to go to.
But at the same time, you're looking at it like a hot sunny day or whatever the case may be. The sun rays
Mm-hmm.
make the because I believe some of the cars, the electric vehicles, they have the sunroof.
Mm-hmm.
The roof of the vehicle is like solar panels. That should
Right.
be able to recharge the batteries by itself. Make the dashboard, make the hood, make the outer part of the car look really, really nice, with solar panels built onto it. That could
Yeah.
also help charge the battery also.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
The dashboard like today was hot as hell. It got up to like 92 to 96 degrees out there. The sun came out. Bam, your vehicle just sitting there is recharging the battery as it sits there.
Yep. I want to, before we close out, I want to make sure that I identify something that was not identified last time. Um, for anyone who's going through some temporary housing issues, I want to make sure that you're aware that the state of New Jersey, under the DCA, Department of Community Affairs Division, has a PDF file available on the internet that you can access to find assistance in your area. For those that are looking, you'll see it. Atlantic County has Jewish Family Services. It gives you their phone number and extension. Bergen, Burlington, all the different counties have agencies that can assist you using homelessness prevention, which is the CEASE program for anybody who knows what that is. But in addition to that, has family sufficiency program, mortgage assistance provided, Habitat for Humanity. All these are available through the New Jersey 211.org, NJ211.org. In addition to that, I want to see if I can find, I had a link to the website that you can go to, and it's a quick application to become certified to help prevent from you losing your home. So let me get it because it's really important that everyone is aware of it.
Can you
And
inbox that to me? Because they could go to the website and just pull it up. I could actually put that on there.
yep, I will. I will. See if I can locate it because my colleague had sent it to me ready for last week's show, and I couldn't get it. Yep. Okay. Cool. I'm going to put it up on the website right here so people can see it, and it's COVID-19.nj.gov. This right here, search COVID reopening information, what you need, COVID-19. And this is eviction prevention program. Let me see if I can get it. Eviction prevention. It's self-certification program. If you go to here, it says COVID19.nj.gov. Go to the part that says COVID Information Hub under eviction prevention information. It is a short program or short application. This is complete the self certification form to learn about New Jersey protection. It's to protect you from losing your apartment when you're in the hardships right now. And now, since the homelessness prevention mandate through COVID-19, because of COVID-19, because of that, you have availability right now It says New Jersey has created a process that may help prevent you from being evicted or removed from where you live. Pursuant to recently enacted legislation, if you submit the certification below and if you are eligible, you may be protected from being evicted or removed from where you are living at any time for the past due rent accrued between March 1st, 2020 and either August 31st, 2021, which is the end of this month, or December 31st, 2021, depending on your income. So you just go to COVID-19, COVID19.nj.gov/renter. When you go to that website, you'll see the certification eligibility program right then about it. It's a self-certification process. You filled out that certification and you're able to go further to help protect you. It's a regular form. It's just a couple steps and a couple answers to do. And it gives you the information where you need to go. So I'm going back and forth with the same thing. But at the very least, what it also provides you is information on how to fill it out, what makes you eligible. Take your time filling it out, and then you submit it to the state. It's multiple steps, and it asks you basic questions. Do you owe any rent to your landlord for the period March 1st, 2020 through August 31st, 2021? That has to do with the pandemic. That's during the time the pandemic was enacted. So you write yes or no. You know what I mean? So yes, you move forward. In what county do you live in? So you pick in the county. How many people, adults, are in your household? Most family, we're talking about at least 4 people. It's basic steps. Over the last 3 months, how much money in total did all the adults in your household over 18 earn? So you can say roughly the mean wage of 4 people. We're talking about the low income rate is $37,000 for 4 people. And it's actually a lot lower for those people on income assistance programs. So if we say, let's be realistic, 2 people working hard, 37,000 may be it. Over the last 12, how much money in total did all the adults, 18 in the household, everyone earn? Last 12 months, you can say 32,000. If you've been out of work, for 30,000. So this is hypothetical numbers. We're going to go back. It says, where are you unable to pay your rent during the period for any reason due to the pandemic? So it's basic questions like this that afford you opportunity to become certified. Once you are certified, then now you become eligible for some assistance through some of the state-run programs to help you with back rent. You have to be, first off, honest about what it is, and because you're certified, you have to be able to prove the necessity, which is if you have a bill from your landlord, if you have a mandate coming from any agency that's supporting you for income assistance, for rental assistance, all those things, and then you submit it when the time comes, then you become eligible for some different, some rental assistance. So this whole process, it's very simple, but just make sure you do it. It's not that difficult. It's just a few questions, and it makes logical sense. If you're in potentially losing your home because of back rent you can't pay, it doesn't hurt anyone but yourself for not trying. So remember, go to covid19.newjersey.gov, covid19.nj.gov. This will get you to the COVID information hub. In addition to that, because of COVID-19, there's lots of other things from employment assistance, medical assistance, food subsidies. All of these things are done through this centralized hub for the state of New Jersey. So if you're in need, please utilize these opportunities for you. There's been people walking around in our neighborhoods, knocking on doors, asking for needs assessments. You need this, and you need that. Are you okay? And they're giving you opportunities to get this assistance by giving you a flyer that has a QR code that will take you directly to this hub. This hub gives you the opportunity for you to look for information to help you out. In addition to being aware of COVID-19, being aware of where you can get the vaccine, being aware for PPE, being aware for any subsidized programs that can help you economically. It also provides other support systems that can help you along the way. If you're going through physical health, if you unfortunately COVID-19 passed on a pregnant woman to fetus a newborn, specific things having the health concerns. it's available to you. So I wanted to make sure last time, 2 weeks ago, and please forgive me for everybody out here, I wanted to launch this, but I couldn't. And then last week I got so engulfed with just concerns that I needed to make sure I addressed before I continued going. But I wanted to make sure before I closed out for this evening that I made everyone aware that there's help for you if you're looking for assistance. If you're facing eviction, and can help you with prevention of this eviction. It's a self-certification process that doesn't guarantee you, but it at least gives you a fair shot in protecting yourself so you don't have to go through that dilemma. All right, so I'm going to forward this information also to you, Adrian, so it can be available on the website.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a great opportunity for those in need. And in case you don't speak English, si no habla en inglés, está disponible en español. If there's other languages that you speak that you might be more comfortable in, there's a chance for you to go through this whole system and in your native language to get you some assistance. So I know right now Spanish may be the one that's regularly available. So I'll say it again in Spanish. Por la gente que necesitan ayuda contra la oportunidad de estar terminado de su contrato de vivienda, tienen asistencia por el Estado en COVID-19, COVID 19.nj.yob. I think that's the case, man. I'm probably gonna mess it all up, but it's COVID19.nj.gov. Por favor, ve, busca la información y apúntate por esta certificación para protegerte contra terminando el contrato de vivienda. So utilize it, do the best you can. If there's some additional assistance, again, you can contact 211. That's the phone number for general information on COVID-19. El teléfono 211, si necesita asistencia con el COVID y todo lo que necesitan durante el tiempo de COVID. Si es recurso para dinero, recurso para información, medicamentos, si alimentos, lo que sea, están disponibles a recibir información con llamando 211. Y está disponible 24 horas al día, 7 días a la semana, en mes a la semana. So 24/7, 211 if you need information on COVID-19. It gives you lots of information, not only vaccine information, but it gives you supplemental information for health, wellness, food, and potentially some housing. So use that, as we are always trying to make sure we're helpful, make sure everyone is aware of what's available out there. So, AG, you about to say something?
Yeah. I sent you I believe an email. There were like 3 attachments inside of it. Did you get it?
I did get it. I didn't get a chance to review all of it. I was in the hospital when I was reviewing.
Okay. Yeah, because basically, I know that you're pretty much, the type of guy that was into like Bitcoins. So I have a manual actually, elaborates a lot and gets into Bitcoins.
Mm-hmm.
Another one is also, I believe I may have sent this one to you, whereas legitimate online companies. So I've done a lot of research. I put, a book together, the whole 9 yards.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to actually put it on the website and everything next week, a book, ebook that people could actually purchase and download, in reference to. And this book, the thing about it is because it goes through everything about how to find, about legitimate online jobs that's not a scam. So it tells you about all of this stuff. So it breaks everything down to you. And after that, there's another attachment that you also receive there's over 500 companies that will allow you to actually work for them from remote at home.
Okay, awesome.
So it's over 500 companies. So I've done the research myself. I've done all of this stuff. And I'm going to put it out there for next week. Over 500 companies that allows you, to work from home.
Awesome.
And I'm also looking into another 150 companies also that will actually hire individuals. I've seen one on there that will allow you to actually do background research for a company from home and pay you, $15 to $17 an hour.
That's awesome. That's a great opportunity, man.
Yeah.
So you have that in the ebook format?
Yes, I have that in the ebook format. So I'm, right now I'm putting everything together on the site that I'm creating, and everything is going to be there. So people can actually go there, they could purchase the book, and then they have, bam, once they open it, like over 500 different companies, you could just copy and put it into your browser, and bam, takes you right there to that company,
Awesome.
and apply for those jobs.
Awesome. So you heard it here. It'll be available. The link should be available through our website, so you can lead you to the link where you can purchase and
Exactly.
require that information if you're looking for that information.
Yeah,
There's
because
all
like I said, it's coming down to crunch time for a lot of people. It's going to be a dark winter. We see the numbers are going back up. A
yeah,
friend of mine works for Atlantic City Medical, so I get to see the numbers firsthand from what's coming up out of those guys.
yeah, it is.
She's like, "Wow, these numbers are like really climbing."
Yeah,
So on a daily basis, in one of those states, the numbers actually climb like by 500%. That's crazy. South Dakota, as a matter of fact, because of Sturgis.
mm-hmm.
That's where that actually happened.
Yeah. They spiked like incredibly amounts of that.
It took a
But
quantum leap. It took
yeah,
a quantum leap.
I had made a reference to that. I think last time we had
Yeah, the week before.
we
Yeah,
have
Sturgis,
yeah
yeah.
we have people forget, you come to a location like Atlantic City or Sturgis, you come in where mass amounts of people, and in that location you can actually become a super spreader, and so when they return they're taking it back to where their origins are. So that specific area may not see numbers increase because everyone's leaving from that area, but that's where it started from. So Atlantic City and the shore is another location like Sturgis is. People like to go there to have good times.
Mhm.
These massive concerts, this big fish concert that took place with, 3 days, and all these tens of thousands of people that were here. I would not be shocked to find out that within
It's
a
going to
100-mile
happen.
radius.
They say 14 days later, you will
Yep,
see the numbers start climbing. Because remember,
yep,
they go to stores, they go to bodegas, they go here, they go to restaurants.
yep.
Not everybody is vaccinated or whatever the case may be. The people
Absolutely,
who are vaccinated could actually spread it to people who are not vaccinated.
absolutely.
So then it becomes, you know, um, really out of hand. And that's what you're going to see 14 days later. You're going
Yep,
to see those numbers start climbing up like crazy.
yep. So you have to be very cautious. And in saying that, you also got to remember nowadays, the CDC and the president, all them, are actually starting to encourage people to take the third booster, or the third shot as a booster.
Pfizer's working on the booster
Right.
right now to get
Right.
the FDA approval.
Yeah. Pfizer was just given full approval of its vaccine,
The vaccine, correct.
which,
Moderna is working on theirs right now also.
yeah, which should be expected within the week or two at the most, because they're
Correct.
following one another. Johnson and Johnson, I doubt if it's going to meet the exception to the rule type deal. So we don't know how far it is before Johnson and Johnson. However, AstraZeneca and them are starting submitting theirs for consideration in the United States as well. Even the Sputnik version in Russia has now landed on these shores for evaluation. So either which way, it's extremely important for you to be informed of what's available and making sure that you protect yourself. The vaccine is readily available, still available. So make your appointments out to wherever it is. Walgreens,
It's at it
CVS.
now because a lot of insurance companies are jumping on board this mandate.
Mm-hmm.
And even
And
in Hawaii,
yeah,
Hawaii actually says don't even bother or think about coming to Hawaii because they're like, stay home. We don't want you here. We
yeah.
deal with our own problems in Hawaii. So
You
that
know,
Hawaiian vacation, you have to postpone that until next year, player.
it's one of the weirdest things, and I thought was one of the most genuinely kind. Also, if you think about it, situations I just recently found out about is vaccine burglars, or was it gangsters, or bandits, something like that. I think that's what they call them.
Vaccine bandits.
Vaccine bandits. People are not stealing the vaccine; they're giving the vaccine to people. They're running up on people, catching you out of nowhere, doing a blindfold and administering the vaccine. And they're telling you, we will be back in 2 weeks, and telling you they'll throw a card saying that you received the vaccine today. They're vaccinating people on just out of the blue. They're running up on people, catching them off guard, and then vaccinating them, and then giving them a
Do you
vaccination.
know what they do in China? They had a checkpoint in China,
Mhm.
right? And you're driving down the street, a checkpoint, just like you would, when the cops stop you for your seatbelt or whatever,
Mhm.
right there, the checkpoint. And this was funny as hell because you have a group of guys dressed in all white with a big freaking net. And when they come down and they tell we'll have to check your temperature, and you sit inside the car, and they belong to the disease department or whatever.
Right.
You're like, check my temperature, and they're like, yeah, stay right there, and they check your temperature, and they come to find out that your temperature is up there. They tell you get out of your car, because right about now the other guy is getting ready to hop in your car and take your car somewhere else because they strongly believe that you're COVID infected, and they'll throw a net over your head and drag you off. I was watching this. I says, "Oh, is this?" I'm like, "This is crazy." They throw a net over the guy's head after they dragged him out of the car, and they pull him into an ambulance and stuff and took him away. These guys like in all white.
Yeah.
It's something like out of a sci-fi movie, but it's happening in real life.
That's crazy.
And that's exactly what's going on these days. Because like I said, all of these concerts, everybody enjoyed this summer, everybody had fun, the numbers are going back up. We're getting ready to go into fall, which will make it into winter, and we're going to have situations going to arise. There's no doubt about it.
Yep. And just to keep, I guess, depending on your perspective, it's just to look at it for what it is. We know that COVID-19 is not going anywhere yet. However, the more we're vaccinated, the more we adhere to what are the rules, the better a chance that it becomes eradicated. That's how smallpox,
polio,
yeah, that's what it took. It took an aggressive approach. Everyone's involved, exactly. Swine flu, exactly. All those things came about because eradication was the end result of stringent vaccinations and making sure that everyone adheres to the rules. So it's something that we have to adhere to as the public continues, as we try. We're screaming so much for people.
It's too polarized and politicized. That's the problem.
And that is, you see it nowadays. People are going to wits end fighting. It was just a video clip you saw about a popular rapper from my day, Busta Rhymes, talking about liberty.
Busta Rhymes. Let me tell you something about that, because I was on WBLS a few days ago, Wednesday. You gotta check out, it's online. Mm-hmm. And they were talking about Busta Rhymes because the moderator for WBLS online, his name is Brother Fatim, and he said he laid into Busta Rhymes like crazy because Busta Rhymes was talking about the mask. Yep. And he went to school with Busta Rhymes. He knows Busta Rhymes. So he told Busta Rhymes, if you have, you're spewing this nonsense, if you got a problem with me or with what you're talking about, you can come on this show and we can discuss the facts. You know what I'm saying? Because Busta Rhymes was saying, F the mask, nobody can tell us about the mask. Folks, we're going to be here, it went from a pandemic to, an endemic, as this one doctor actually said. Whereas we're not going to come up out of this no time soon because too many people are hesitant. I saw the news earlier today. This one lady, it was really sad that both she and her husband, contracted COVID. She had a serious case of COVID, so they have to put her in the hospital in the ICU. They gave him some meds and told him, go back home. This is what Atlantic City Medical was doing. Tell him to go back home and you'll be okay. Just take the meds and everything will be okay. We'll take care of your wife. Well, the wife wasn't vaccinated, neither was he. The wife actually came out of the hospital weeks later. By the time she got home, her husband was dead.
Wow, that's sad.
Her husband was dead, and rigor started, deteriorating his body.
It's one of those things that people still have to pay consideration. You yourself may be lucky and may not feel the effects of COVID-19, but what you're spreading into the world may affect someone whose immune system is weakened. And in our days today, there's more people walking around with immune deficiency syndrome, immune deficiency than ever before. Because of the chemicals that we have to live in, because of how foods we're digesting. We're not as able to fight against illness as much as we were before. So we depend on medicine to go on. So it's one of those things, damned if you do, damned if you don't. You're going to die eventually, but isn't it better?
It depends on how you're going to die. Exactly. It depends on how you're going to die. We as long everything on this planet Earth, as long as it lives, it breathes, is going to die.
Right.
Bottom line.
Right.
We're familiar with that. But it depends on, can you prevent it, or are you just going to be stupid and just say, to hell with it? I'm just going to be going willy-nilly. You go inside the Wawa. It says on the door on the yellow sticker, everyone should wear a mask regardless, the operative word, of
It's
vaccine status.
it's
But a
recommended.
lot of people still walk in there without a mask.
Yeah.
You know, I saw a cop in Absecon, and he walked up inside of there, no mask, no, you know, and he's a cop. You know, in full uniform, the whole 9 yards. These are the type of people that you rely on to set a precedence.
Oh,
You
man.
know,
I've gone through challenges with police officers about that, and they always have this arrogance to them. Like, yeah, I'm like, yo, you don't love your family enough to cover
my
yourself.
friend in New York was the same way too. He's an NYPD cop, and he's talking garbage.
Mhm.
You know, I'm like, bro, you know, you have a mother who's up here in the 80s. Don't you want to be considerate to your kids? You have twins, your wife, and your mother. Come on, man. And you know, you're running around in New York City during the pandemic. You know, New York was hit very hard. We know this because we saw Cuomo on TV all the time.
Oh
He's
yeah,
like, man, we don't think nothing about it. We just go get the people and we take them to the hospital. We didn't care about none of that. They never gave us any masks.
shit.
So this is the way I should do it. So they think right now that they may have had COVID, but oh yeah, I got over it because I had a little flu. You know, so I got over the flu. So that may have been COVID. So I'm good to go. No, that might have just been a snuffle of, you know, allergy or whatever. But when COVID hits you, it's like a freaking forest fire inside your damn body. That's what it is. It's a forest fire.
And it's not a one and done type deal, because if you
Hell
have
no, because
COVID-19,
yeah,
you can have COVID-19, recover and have antibodies and catch it again.
yeah.
It's one of those type of things.
It's
So
called
that's the
long
reality of
hauler
COVID-19.
syndrome.
Yep.
It's called long hauler syndrome. You will have the after effects from the taste, the smell, your sense. It takes away all the senses from you. It's freaking amazing.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, like chemical warfare is biological weapon.
Yep.
You know, this is something that you want to serve to Al Qaeda, can let them, you know, among themselves and put them in a camp. You know what I'm saying? But this is what we're dealing with.
And this is the thing I want to try to keep emphasizing is that historically speaking, every illness that became a worldwide pandemic had to face the same type of stringent address, which is vaccinations, trying to find vaccinations. And the question mark is the vaccinations enough that these days, you know, the time frame, but the technology is more advanced now that you shouldn't have to worry. It shouldn't take twice as long as it was in the past, or equal to. It should be a lot faster. So you got to trust in the science and trust in the technology, because ultimately the person who pays for it is the people who care about you. You don't care about yourself, that's fine. But what about your mom, who's going to cry if you pass away from something? Do you love your mom enough? Do you love your dad enough? Do you love your children enough to do all this stuff? So I would imagine people are. So you just have to be very conscious of what you're doing and how you're doing things, and making sure that you adhere to the rules that are in front of you. If you're alive, preserve it. If you love the people that you have around you, preserve their lives. Do what you need to do to preserve their lives.
You know, think about it, Mo. If you walk in inside the Wawa or whatever the case may be, common sense, which isn't always common, and it says on the door, we want you to wear a mask, regardless of your vaccine status. You know what I'm saying? But people walk up inside of there for nothing, you know, and they don't wear any mask or whatever the case may be. In actuality, they're breaking the rules that the store has actually laid out. They're violating the store rules. You know, and the thing about it is, because the store is like, you know, well, we don't care if they come up inside of here, you know. So if the store doesn't care about you, you need to care about your own damn self, because they don't care about you, and it's common sense.
Yeah, but it's like we said before. The easiest way to hide the truth is put it in writing. People don't read
Yeah.
it.
You see, so when you go up inside one of these stores and you end up with COVID and you take it back home, whatever the case may be, you can say, oh, yeah, you know, the store, because the store put it right there. It's just that you didn't read it. But now that everybody knows how to read, we're going to find that out also.
It's exactly, man. So I mean, it's all around us. It's one of those type of things we have to accept the fact that it's part of the new norm. The new norm is that we have health concerns that we have to watch over.
While we're going back into, right now we're into COVID 2.0. We're going to go into 3.0 soon. You know what I'm saying? Wait until the winter comes. We're going to be into COVID-19 3.0.
And they've said it, and they've said it ongoing. This is actually just in preparation for the larger, more dangerous things that are heading up the pipe. It is.
It is.
Think about this. With global warming, right? You have all kinds of things that have been frozen for hundreds and thousands of years, frozen. You can say maybe 20, 30,000 years, frozen. All of a sudden are thawing out. You have micro germs and viruses and bacteria that are finally waking the hell up. and they've been there killing people back when they were alive and vibrant 120,000 years ago. Now they become available. Boom, we're about to get hit with something we've never thought before.
Look at the ice glaciers. Look at the glaciers. These things are falling off into the freaking ocean like this. The polar bears are actually saying, we don't have anywhere to hang out.
The Siberian North in Russia that was once looked at this monster was nothing but snow is now becoming tropical weather. The super tundra, I mean, it's supposed to be hot weather over there. You talking about in Siberia, you have 80-degree temperatures in Siberia. They've never had 80-degree temperatures. Their highest, warmest days may have been 50, 60. Now it's 80 and 90. So these are the things that you have to be concerned about. You have real threats that are starting waking up. There was a movie that was just released on, I think it was either Amazon or it was available something else. It was called The Tomorrow War. Watch that show. If you can, watch that. Because let me tell you, that gave you a certain perspective that you should consider with stuff that's going on right now. Something that was already stuck in the snow 3,000 years ago, just being seen and becoming open because of global warming and the change, and now there's no snow there, so it becomes awakened after 3,000 years in the tundra, frozen snow. There's a possibility. I ain't gonna say,
but look at it, Mo. But look at all of the rich guys. What are the rich people doing right now? They're figuring out a way on how to actually build something, leave the damn planet. Exactly. Look, Jeff Bezos, Branson, these guys building rockets to test going out into space, because eventually only the rich and the wealthy be able to afford $250,000 for a seat to get the hell off this planet and live on Mars or something.
Mm-hmm. There's another film to watch. It's called Space Sweepers. It's a foreign movie, I think, made in Thailand. You can watch it with using dubbing and so on and so forth. But it was a brilliant concept. Again, somebody terraforming, making a satellite off the, not too far distance between the moon and Earth, so it can emulate, because the Earth is dying from its atmosphere. And it's intended because this super wealthy person is going to kill off the Earth, so only the rich and wealthy can survive by terraforming there and Mars. It could happen.
No, if you look at it, if you go back in time, at one time there used to be the poor, the middle, and the wealthy. There were three different classes. Then after a while, the poor people are gone, the middle class is gone. Now you only have the wealthy. So now they got rid of, because a lot of people who were middle class are now poor people, because based on the employments and the whole 9 years, a lot of these people will live in paycheck to paycheck. And they always say that you're one paycheck away from poverty. And once COVID actually hit and shuts down a whole lot of businesses, these people went from being middle class to being poor.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Looking for government handout, looking for government assistance in the whole 9 yards. We're spending more money on war than we're spending on human infrastructure and helping human beings on. They spend $2 trillion
terrible
on Afghanistan, $750 million to train their army. And at the end of the day, there's nothing left. There's nothing left. And we're still dealing with the poverty. We're still dealing with, crumbling roads and infrastructures that they can't even get. You're going to see more pipes this winter bursting like crazy. You're going to see more bridges falling down like crazy, more roads being bad as hell.
Mm-hmm.
Because the human infrastructure, they never put any money into that. So everything that's been done has been put in place, and it's going to come back to haunt everyone. That's how it's going to be.
It's stuff that we got to look at, man. We definitely got to look at, because we have to pay attention to what's going on, because the truth is right there in front of us, man.
Hey, Mo, you spoke about the flying cars. When you have an individual gets up there, has to drive to work, 45 minutes to an hour, eventually, if he's rich, he's going to buy a flying car. So he's like, to hell with you. I'm taking my car and I'm flying over everybody, because eventually, the FAA and these guys are going to approve it anyway. To have those flying vehicles like the Jetsons.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. But it is that time of the night, man. Great conversation at the end. Wanted to make sure. Bruh, I'm going to give you the stage. Please say a few words for the closing fractions. Make sure everybody knows what's going on.
Earlier, you said a mouthful, do it for your loved ones. Do it for your family. Get vaccinated. That's just the bottom line. We're going to be here for a while, but we want to see you safe and alive. That's just the bottom line. If you don't think that you can take the vaccine, consult your physician. Consult a physician. That's the bottom line. Education. And that's where I'm at with it, And like I've always said, be positive and test negative, but use some common sense at the same time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, folks, we're at the end of another wonderful show. And again, I really appreciate for all of those that come by, stop by, spend a few minutes, or maybe took the whole ride with us. Hopefully you've learned something, you've got some information. Hopefully you stayed encouraged, because ultimately, without you, there is no us when it comes to this world. Please be conscious of your imprint in life. Do what you can to stay as healthy as possible and everyone around you as healthy as possible for as long as life can provide, because tomorrow is not promised. At this moment in time, my mother-in-law is at a really difficult situation in her life. So I'm asking for everyone to praise. If you can, pray for Nikki. Nikki, we definitely got you. We love you to death, so we're going to stay prayed up. And ain't nothing going to win as long as you got God with you. So no matter what, we pray for you. And for everyone out there, please stay healthy. Remember, we need you in here. We love you. We appreciate you. Life is what it is. It's up to you to make it as flourishing as you want it to be. But it's also because of you that it ends up the way it is. So if you made a mistake, it's time for you to correct it. But life is full of opportunities. It's up to you. So thank you again for stopping on by. This is The New Norm with Mo Delgado. My brother Adrian on the other side, always coming in clutch. We look for you next time, next week. If you're interested, please stop by our website at www.thenewnorm.club for any information we talked about or any information from the past. You go there, you'll see a video archive of past shows and discussions that we had. Also, visit the Cyber Mall, because we talk about lots of the information of products and people who may be offering services. We're constantly providing support to our fellow business owners and small business owners, especially minority business owners. And we're always affording everyone opportunity to have a voice and be heard. So please take part. If you're looking, if you're interested, follow and go check out our page on thenewnorm.club. And until next week, all I'm asking you to do is peace. Stay alive, y'all.
Yeah. Be blessed.